Chapter 2321 The Appearance of Heilu Tianjin. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Boom. Yi Tian was the first to break into this treasure trove, directly looking for Heilujin. For him, only sea-floor gold is the most precious resource, and other things are of little value. In an instant, he locked Heilujin. These sea-floor golds are placed in the corner of this treasure house, floating there like stars. The sea-floor gold was blue in color, and each piece of sea-floor gold was about the size of a football, exuding terrifying coercion, but to Yi Tian, this kind of coercion was nothing. Swish! Yi Tian rushed over and transformed into countless hands to grab these Heilujin. During this period, other great ancestors and creatures tried to stop them, but they were directly sent flying by Yi Tian. At this moment, Yi Tian showed his true strength. But just after Yi Tian took away 2/3 of the sea-floor gold, the three high-level immeasurable beings arrived. It's time to go, don't be too greedy. Yi Tian directly chose to escape, and these three high-order immeasurable beings tried to intercept Yi Tian and prevent Yi Tian from leaving. But at this time, those deep-water giant apes began to collect these sea-floor gold, obviously not wanting these sea-floor gold to be robbed. Snatch Heilujin, leave him alone. These three high-level immeasurable beings no longer stopped Yi Tian, but went to snatch the sea-floor gold. They are very clear that Yi Tian's strength is not much weaker than theirs. If they really block Yi Tian, there will be no result. On the contrary, this action will make it impossible to obtain a piece of sea-floor gold. Certainly, they also passed on Yi Tian's information and asked other great ancestors to intercept Yi Tian. Heilujin is definitely more than that, there must be a treasure trove to store Heilujin. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, he had to keep the sea-floor gold first. So, he hid somewhere in Zumi Jingshan Mountain and started to copy his body. Although the speed of copying the body with the copy talent imprint was slower, he continued to accelerate the time and quickly copied another copy body. This cloned body is a dead ancestor named Zhu Xuandazu. It's just that the fighting is so frequent here, so even if the great patriarch of the 9 expeditions is resurrected, the other patriarchs will not be surprised. Even if they see the patriarch who was killed by the patriarch of the 9 patrols, they only think that the patriarch of the 9 patrols has a powerful way to save his life, was not really killed before. Afterwards, Yi Tian put the sea-floor gold on his body on Zhu Xuan great ancestor. In this way, he can let Zhu Xuandazu leave with these Heilujin. Soon, the cloned body of Zhu Xuandazu rushed out from Zumi Jingshan Mountain, and even disguised as the price of serious injury, and left the main battlefield so the danger would be greatly reduced. And Yi Tian's other duplicate body continued to search for other Heilujin in Zumi Jingshan. His purpose is to find more sea-floor gold to prepare for his future promotion to a high-level immeasurable life form. With the passage of time, the battlefields of Zumi Jingshan were extremely chaotic, and Heilujin was discovered from time to time, which triggered battles again and again. And Yi Tian has also robbed some sea-floor gold many times, although it is not too much, but for him personally, it is naturally a lot. At this moment, the Zumi Jingshan changed again. Crack! The huge Zumi Jingshan was torn apart due to the battle, and a dazzling blue light ripped apart the endless void and illuminated the surrounding territories. This scene suddenly attracted the attention of many great ancestors, and even Hurricane Great Ancestor of Hurricane Pavilion was attracted. Quote. Hurricane Ancestor had a guess in his heart. It's Heilu Tianjin. Hurricane Ancestor couldn't help but shout it out. The other great ancestors were also extremely shocked, and their hearts were full of desire and greed. They always thought that there was only sea-floor gold in Zumi Jingshan, but they never thought that there was still sea-floor gold here. The sea-floor gold is also a kind of sea-floor gold, but it is the most high-end sea-floor gold. It is too helpful for the high-level immeasurable life forms, and it is not a resource at all. If Heilujin can make high-order immeasurable beings heartbeat, then Heilu Tianjin is enough to make high-order immeasurable beings crazy. At this moment, the great ancestors of Hurricane Pavilion rushed to the location of Heilu Tianjin. Heilu Tianjin. Yi Tian saw that dazzling blue light, and the condensing of its light far exceeded that of ordinary Heilujin. Indeed, only Heilu Tianjin had such a ray of light. Yi Tian doesn't know much about Heilu Tianjin, but he also knows how precious this treasure is. When I investigated Heilujin before, I knew a little about Heilu Tianjin, but Heilu Tianjin is too rare, so there is very little information about Heilu Tianjin, only knowing that it is enough to make high-level immeasurable beings crazy. Even a major force like Hurricane Pavilion would not dare to expect to obtain the Heilu Tianjin. If they knew that there was Heilu Tianjin here, I am afraid that even more powerful forces would break into this place at all costs to seize the Heilu Tianjin. Heilu Tianjin is something that even those creatures under the overlord of the virtual whale don't know about, so they don't know the preciousness of this thing, so they didn't come to guard it. However, the descendants of the overlord of the virtual whales naturally knew about the seafloor gold, so they came directly to guard the seafloor sky gold, and would not let any great ancestor snatch the seafloor sky gold. For a while, this little virtual whale was attacked by many great ancestors, and was quickly injured. And the overlord of the virtual whale saw that his son was injured, and Shanghai Lu Tianjin was not guaranteed, and he was in a hurry. If he only loses some seafloor gold, it is still within his tolerance, but if he loses these seafloor gold, then the loss is too great. These Heilu Tianjin are his hope to break the shackles. He has been collecting enough Heilu Tianjin, and he has never been willing to refine and use it. You have to work hard. The virtual whale overlord thought to himself. In an instant, blue light appeared on the overlord of the virtual whale, countless stripes spread all over his body, and his breath suddenly increased several times. Burning blood, Hurricane Great Ancestor was shocked. At the level of the void whale overlord, the consequences of burning the bloodline are very serious, it will take a long time to recover, and even some sequelae will be left permanently. Not a certain moment, they will not be so desperate. Not only that, a round diamond appeared in the mouth of the virtual whale overlord, releasing a dazzling light, which was mixed with some sea towers and sky gold. How extravagant is it to use Heilu Tianjin to refine weapons? Break me. The virtual whale overlord urged the weapon with all his strength, trying to shoot through the mask. Hurricane Great Ancestor and the others tried to block it, but they were directly penetrated. This blow directly pierced the mask, and then cracked directly under the full impact of the virtual whale overlord. Seeing this scene, Hurricane Ancestor and the others changed their expressions greatly. Chapter 2322 The overlord of the virtual whale is desperate. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Not good. Hurricane Ancestor panicked. In terms of strength, they are not the opponents of the virtual whale overlord, and can only barely resist the virtual whale overlord. But now, if the overlord of the virtual whale is desperate, it will not be an opponent. Ordinary high-level immeasurable life forms will definitely be killed in seconds when they encounter the overlord of the virtual whale. Retreat. Hurricane Great Ancestor sent a message to other great ancestors and told them to retreat. However, those great ancestors were still slower to respond. Boom! The body of the ancestor of the virtual whale directly smashed into several high-level immeasurable life forms and many ancestors, and the terrifying power directly killed these ancestors. Hurricane Great Ancestor immediately stepped forward to block Shu Mi Whale Great Ancestor, but was also shot out. He did not expect that the strength of the ancestor of the virtual whale would be so terrifying. Seeing this scene, the other great ancestors were frightened and did not dare to stay here, fleeing one by one. Instead of Hurricane Pavilion's high-level immeasurable lifeforms, they panicked and fled directly, daring to cooperate with Hurricane Pavilion to fight against the overlord of the void whale. Before, the Hurricane Pavilion was sure to trap the virtual whale overlord, and they came here to snatch the seafloor gold. Today, the Hurricane Pavilion can't live without the virtual whale overlord. If they stay any longer, they will be dead. Everyone is afraid of death, and these high-level immeasurable beings are naturally afraid of death. Although the high-level immeasurable life forms are difficult to kill, the gap between them and the overlord of the virtual whale is too great, and they can't take a move at all, and they will die if they don't leave. No matter how precious Heilu Tianjin is, there is no life to take it away. As a large number of great ancestors fled, the forces of the Hurricane Pavilion collapsed directly. Today, the great ancestor of Hurricane can only let the ancestors of the Hurricane Pavilion escape from here, lest the losses be even more severe. But from the beginning to the end, Hurricane Ancestor did not leave here, he was waiting for the end of the process of burning the blood of the virtual whale overlord. In this case, the strength of the virtual whale overlord will drop greatly. At that time, Hurricane Great Ancestor will be sure to take away the heavenly gold from Heilu. But the key question is whether he can last until that time. Boom boom boom. The ancestors who had no time to escape all died at the hands of the overlord of the virtual whale. At this moment, many great ancestors regretted that they should not have come here, and ended up throwing their lives here. And Yeet CJFJ carrying the copy body of Heilujin was already on the edge of the battlefield, so he evacuated as soon as he discovered the accident, so he did not encounter the attack of the virtual whale overlord. And Yi Tian's other copy body is a creature of the void of the galaxy. The overlord of the virtual whale thinks it is his subordinate, although he has never seen Yi Tian, but many creatures belonging to the overlord of the virtual whale are not qualified to see it. Yi Tian, it's normal not to know each other. Therefore, the virtual whale overlord did not kill Yi Tian. This caused Yi Tian's two cloned bodies to be alive here, and witness the terrifying combat power of the virtual whale overlord. As expected of an overlord of the Wukong galaxy, it is said that the strength of the void whale overlord is the last among the many overlords of the Wukong galaxy. I didn't expect the last countdown to be so terrifying. Yi Tian sighed secretly. Of course, in the Xuanqi territory, there are countless high-level immeasurable beings that are stronger than the Shu Mijing overlord or the other overlords of the Wukong galaxy. Puff puff. The two top high-level immeasurable beings who assisted the Hurricane Great Ancestor to stop the Shu Mi whale overlord couldn't hold it any longer, and they fled with heavy damage. At this time, only Hurricane Ancestor and Yi Tian, who was spying on Zumi Jingshan, were left in this area. With the passage of time, the aura of the virtual whale overlord began to decline, and the injuries of the Hurricane Ancestors became more and more serious, but the Hurricane Ancestors had a lot of life-saving means, so they could not die for a while. Suddenly, Hurricane Ancestor couldn't take it anymore and ran away. And the overlord of the virtual whale did not give up on chasing and killing Hurricane Ancestor. He knew very well that after his bloodline burned, his body would be weak, and Hurricane Ancestor would definitely come back at that time. The confluence period did not end so quickly, so the great ancestor of Hurricane had to be dealt with, or the great ancestor of the Hurricane had to be hit hard, and it would be difficult to recover over a long period of time. Otherwise, Zumi Jingshan is afraid that this time it will be dangerous, and he will also be in danger. After the overlord of Zumi Jing and the great ancestor of Hurricane left Shu Mi Jing Mountain, Yi Tian began to collect Hailu gold and the heritage resources of those great ancestors. As for Hailu Tianjin, Yi Tian looked at the little illusory whale who was being healed by the guardian Hailu Tianjin, and gave up the plan to capture Hailu Tianjin. He has the ability to integrate all things, and he may also be able to use these Hailu finance to synthesize Hailu Tianjin. If he does, then he does not need to snatch the Hailu Tianjin, as long as he collects the Hailu Tianjin. At this moment, Shu Mi Jingshan suffered heavy losses, and although Yi Tian's behavior aroused suspicion from many creatures, it did not stop Yi Tian. Even if Yi Tian had a problem, he would have to wait for the Shu Mi whale overlord to come back and deal with it. The creatures here are healing one by one. After all, they also know that this war is not over yet, so they want to heal and fight again. It's almost time to go, Yi Tian secretly said. If he continued to stay here, his duplicate body would definitely die, and the resources he had finally collected would also be gone. So, he was ready to flee. At this time, a high-level immeasurable life form of Zumi Jingshan saw Yi Tian's problem and tried to stop Yi Tian. However, this high-level immeasurable life form was seriously injured, and it would be easy to deal with other top middle-level immeasurable life forms, but it couldn't deal with Yi Tian. Boom! The two sides clashed instantly. Yi Tian directly smashed the high-level immeasurable life form, and immediately fled away quickly, and then in a distant place, handed over all the resources on his body to another copy body, the Nine Patriarch Great Ancestor. However, the two replicated bodies quickly separated. In this way, as long as the cloned body of the Nine Patriarchs does not fall, there will be no loss. Yi Tian manipulated the cloned body of the Nine Patriarchs to hide far away, and all kinds of hidden talents were used, so that it would not be conspicuous. After that, he waited slowly. On the other hand, the overlord of Zumi Whale made Hurricane Ancestor almost fall, but in the end he let Hurricane Ancestor escape, and the process of burning the blood of overlord Zumi Whale ended, entered a weak state, and returned to Zumi Jing Mountain. And due to the heavy damage of the Hurricane Great Ancestor, the Hurricane Pavilion suffered heavy losses, so he did not dare to attack Zumi Jingshan again for a while. If they can work hard again, then they will be finished. Chapter 2323 Return, Information. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Somewhere in the virtual whale territory. More than a dozen high-level immeasurable beings are gathering here, including the seriously injured Hurricane Great Ancestor. At this time, the Great Ancestor Hurricane is very weak and has no fighting power. But the other Great Ancestors still respected the Great Ancestor Hurricane and did not dare to be arrogant. Hurricane Ancestor, what should we do now? There is still a long time until the end of the confluence period. And we have suffered heavy losses this time, and the seafloor gold obtained is very rare. Even if the overlord of the virtual whale no longer chases and kills us, this is the loss. It can't make up for the loss. 1. A high-level infinite life form said. This high-level immeasurable being is not the ancestor of the Hurricane Pavilion, but cooperated with the Hurricane Pavilion. Hurricane Ancestor's face was gloomy, and he didn't know what to do. The biggest loss this time is his Hurricane Pavilion. 4 or 5 high-order immeasurable life forms have fallen. Not to mention the middle-order immeasurable life forms, the loss is even more, and there are also high-order immeasurable life forms in preparation. The seeds are also folded here. And he was hit hard, and it took a long time to recover. Everyone is injured. Although the overlord of the virtual whale is also in a weak period, the virtual whale mountain still has enough strength. This is also their old nest. If they attack again, it is very likely that they will suffer heavy losses again. More importantly, those great ancestors have collapsed, and it would be impossible to organize them to help us invade Zumi Jingshan Mountain again. Hurricane Great Ancestor said helplessly. The other great ancestors nodded in agreement. At this time, all the immeasurable intermediate-level lifeforms were hiding one by one. Even if they were forcibly summoned, they would not dare to invade Zumi Jingshan. Everyone should hide during this time. The overlord of the virtual whale should not dare to come out. When the meeting period is over, let's go back. Hurricane Ancestor reluctantly suggested. The other great ancestors did not speak, but they also chose this method. Time passed slowly, and the virtual whale territory gradually returned to calm. The overlord of the virtual whale has been staying in the virtual whale mountain to heal his wounds. For him, he is in a weak period, and it is a confluence period, and he is separated from the empty galaxy. This is the time when he is most likely to be killed. Therefore, he will not go out. When the confluence period is over, even if those high-level immeasurable beings regain their strength, he can easily slaughter them all. So, he doesn't have to take the risk. Furthermore, he had to protect his own sea towers. In this way, the confluence period gradually came to an end. This day, the void is turbulent, and this territory gradually returns to the void-free galaxy. Hurricane Great Ancestor and other great ancestors have been waiting on the edge of the territory for a long time, and when the confluence period ends, they will immediately escape from this territory. Boom! The rendezvous period was completely over, and Hurricane Ancestor and the others all got on the giant boat. And if some great ancestors were still hiding and didn't come, they would just ignore it. The giant boat quickly escaped and returned to hurricane territory from here. Suddenly, a huge body emerged, and it was the overlord of the virtual whale. No, the overlord of the virtual whale is here. Hurricane Ancestor was shocked. If it is still in the confluence period, they are not afraid of these high-level immeasurable beings joining forces to fight against the weak period of the void whale overlord. But now, the confluence period is over, they are in the void galaxy, the suppression of the void galaxy makes them unable to exert their real strength, but the void whale overlord can gain an increase, and the combat power is extremely powerful. Death to me! The virtual whale overlord attacked, and the giant boat was cracked in an instant, and the giant boat was still escaping. In an instant, they crossed a long border and fought in another place. And at the bottom of the river, Yi Tian was watching this scene and murmured in his heart, the overlord of the virtual whale in the void-free galaxy is too strong, and in a weak state, he can hang and beat this group of high-level immeasurable beings. They will have to fall a few more, unless there are powerful high-level immeasurable life forms to meet them. However, this matter has nothing to do with him. Yi Tian left here very quickly, and he copied his body to transfer resources, so nothing would happen. After leaving this territory, Yi Tian went around in circles and finally returned to the hurricane territory. Hurricane Caller. Yi Tian has already transferred all the resources to Xuanming Great Ancestor's cloned body. He counted the gains this time, enough to make many high-level immeasurable beings go crazy. For flowers, regardless of other resources, he has collected a total of 180,000 pieces of gold from Helu this time. A piece of seafloor gold is very valuable, not to mention 180,000 seafloor gold, for ordinary high-level immeasurable life forms, so much seafloor gold is an astronomical figure. It's a pity that Shanghai Lu Jin is not available at the moment. Yi Tian exclaimed. After all, seafloor gold is a resource used by high-level immeasurable beings. Although it can be used as a material to refine weapons, it is too extravagant and too easy to expose. He didn't want to be so high-profile, and he would definitely be targeted. Try if you can combine Helu Finance into Helu Tianjin. Immediately, Yi Tian started such an attempt. Anyway, his seafloor gold is relatively high, so he is not afraid of failure of the test. Soon, piece after piece of seafloor gold was combined by Yi Tian with the ability to integrate all things. After merging 36 pieces of Helu gold finally changed. Boom! A piece of Helu Tianjin was born, and its light was covered up by Yi Tian, who was prepared, so it did not leak out. Sure enough, the seafloor and sky gold are merged. Yi Tian said excitedly. This is Halu Tianjin that even high-level immeasurable beings like Hurricane Great Ancestor yearn for. Now he has it, and it can be merged into a lot of Halu Tianjin. Halu Tianjin is so precious, it should have a lot of uses. So, Yi Tian went to inquire about Halu Tianjin's information. This time Halu Tianjin appeared in the Zumi Jingshan mountain, so Yi Tian was not the only one who knew the information about Halu Tianjin, so he would not arouse suspicion from others and he could easily find out about Halautian. Gold information. I didn't expect Halu Tianjin to have such an effect. After Yi Tian learned about the information, he was immediately overjoyed. Halu Jin is not very useful to him now, but Halu Tianjin is useful to him today, and it even has a great effect on the impact of the middle-level immeasurable beings against the high-level immeasurable beings. Corpse. Chapter 2324 The 10th Recast of Life. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. After the intermediate level immeasurable life form has completed 9 life recasts, as long as other conditions are met, it can attack the high-level immeasurable life form. However, this success rate is not 100%, under normal circumstances it is only 30% to 40%, and once the impact fails, the body will be unstable, resulting in a lower success rate for the second impact. And if there is a piece of Halu Tianjin, you can use the power of Halu Tianjin to forcibly break through to the realm of high-level immeasurable life forms. The success rate is 100%. Even if the breakthrough fails on purpose, there will be no sequelae. Even the intermediate-level immeasurable beings that have failed to break through can forcibly break through to the high-rank immeasurable beings with the help of Halu Tianjin. In addition, Halu Tianjin can also be used for the cultivation of the immeasurable body. For example, Yi Tian's excellent immeasurable body and infinite body has been cultivated to the realm of minor achievement, and it is very difficult to upgrade to the realm of great achievement. If there is no special chance, before becoming a high-level immeasurable being, there is not much hope. But with Halu Tianjin, the body of Wuji can be raised to the realm of Dachang. If there is enough Halu Tianjin, it can even raise the promised body to the perfect state. Of course, it is undoubtedly too extravagant to use Halu Tianjin to improve the body of Wuji. If those forces are obtained, it is impossible to use it to cultivate middle-level immeasurable life forms, but to use it for yourself, because it can help many high-order immeasurable life forms break the shackles, and even high-order immeasurable life forms like the Void Whale Overlord. All are of great use. I want to be promoted to the level of the Void Whale Overlord is too far away, and now I have a lot of seafloor gold, which is directly merged into seafloor sky gold to improve my infinite body. Yi Tian decided. Afterwards, he merged those seafloor golds and merged these seafloor golds one by one into seafloor sky gold. First retreat and practice, and raise the body of the infinite to the realm of great achievement. If I succeed in breaking through, my strength will skyrocket. Immediately, Yi Tian let his real body copy the body to refine these Halu Tianjin. Just a piece of Halu Tianjin has made Yi Tian refining for a long time, and with the continuous refining, his promised body is also improving rapidly. A piece of seafloor gold is not enough. Yi Tian continued refining the Halu Tianjin, and after refining 3 pieces of Halu Tianjin, he finally cultivated the Wuji body to the peak of Shaocheng, and he was only 1 step away from Dacheng. By refining another piece of Halu Tianjin, you should be able to break the shackles and raise the body of Wuji to the realm of great achievement. Yi Tian secretly said. So, Yi Tian took another piece of Halu Tianjin to impact the infinity body of Dacheng realm. Time passed little by little. Boom! The shackles in the dark were completely shattered with the help of Halu Tianjin, and the body of Wuji officially entered the Dacheng realm. The body began to transform, and the breath suddenly soared a lot. At this moment, Yi Tian's combat power skyrocketed. Afterwards, Yi Tian found that it was much easier to recast the life level, obviously because of the benefits brought by the Wuji body after breaking through the great accomplishment realm. In the years that followed, Yi Tian devoted himself to recasting his life and cultivating the promised body. He is not afraid of wasting Halu Tianjin. The most important thing is to increase his strength right now, and he doesn't believe that he will get Halu Jin in the future. Therefore, he doesn't care about the consumption of these sea towers. In this way, the first year of hundreds of thousands of worlds has passed. This day, Yi Tian successfully completed the 9th life recasting, and the body of Wuji also successfully broke through to the perfect state. The speed of progress is too fast. If other intermediate-level immeasurable beings know that I have completed 9 life recasts so quickly, they will definitely be stunned. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, he has a large number of different golden sand and golden dragon stone formulas, so he has a steady stream of golden dragon stones, and it is too simple for him to recast the level of life. 9 times of life recasting is not difficult, but the 10th life recasting is difficult. Although I have been recasting the level of life with the golden dragon stone containing the different golden sands, and I have the potential to recast the 10th life, it does not mean that the successful recasting can be successful, and it will take a long time. 1. Yi Tian prepared a large amount of golden dragon stones, and kept refining these golden dragon stones to impact the 10th life recasting. Yi Tian also inquired about a lot of information about the 10th life recast, but there is very little information about this. After all, there are too few great ancestors who can do the 10th life recast, and the entire Xuanqi realm is afraid not much. Yi Tian is not afraid of danger, anyway, even if the breakthrough fails, it will not have any effect on him. Even if this replica body is abolished, he can replicate a replica body again and make a breakthrough again. As time passed, Yi Tian truly felt the difficulty of impacting the 10th life recasting, and perhaps there was a better way to recast the 10th life level. However, Yi Tian didn't know this method. He also thought about joining a certain big force, but after learning about the situation of those forces in Xuanqi Zero Realm, he dismissed this idea. No matter which force you join, there is no way that you won't be trusted in the years. After all, there are only those resources. Any talent is meaningless. Without resources, any talent is empty talk. Therefore, those forces will not cultivate foreign ancestors unless they really make a lot of credit. Therefore, it is his burden to join those forces. As for inheritance, he doesn't really need it. After a long period of time, Yi Tian relied on the golden dragon stone to forcibly attack the 10th life recasting. Relying on this method to slowly boil, he did not believe that he could not break through. Finally, with the help of a lot of golden dragon stones, Yi Tian finally completed the 10th life recast. Perhaps this method is a waste of 5.9 golden dragon stones, and those big forces can't afford it, but this is undoubtedly the safest and most stable method. Boom! The transformation of the 10th life recast is too great, perhaps not as good as the transformation brought about by breaking through the high-level infinite life form, but it is enough to make his strength reach an incredible level. This transformation lasted for a long time and also consumed Yi Tian countless resources. But in the end, after the 10th life recast was completed, Yi Tian's strength far surpassed before. Boom! Yi Tian lightly tapped a finger, and the immeasurable profound wall was directly smashed. It's a pity, things like the infinite profound wall have been unable to test the strength of my casual one-finger attack. Yi Tian murmured. Chapter 2325 The 11th Recast of Life. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian's current strength is far more powerful than before. If a high-level immeasurable being like the great ancestor of the ape leopard encounters him, he will be sure to kill him. Of course, his strength is still far from the level of the void whale overlord, and even far from the level of the hurricane great ancestor. Hurricane great ancestor, a high-level immeasurable lifeform, is sure to kill weaker high-order immeasurable lifeforms at will, but he is only sure to kill weaker high-order immeasurable lifeforms. Therefore, the gap is still very large. However, it is a bit difficult for Hurricane Great Ancestor to kill him. He can't escape if he can't beat him, and there is hope to escape. But if he breaks through to the high-level immeasurable life form, he may be enough to match the Great Ancestor Hurricane. Another period of time has passed. Yi Tian's cultivation base has reached the limit, and the boundless will has also reached the 800 scales, which has far exceeded the standard of 500 scales. It can be said that Yi Tian can now attack the high-level immeasurable life forms. However, he felt that he could still try the 11th and 12th life recasting. Even if the other great ancestors used the Yi-29 Jinsha formula, it was impossible to refine the massive Yi Jinsha like him, so the foundation was not too solid, and 10 life recasts might be the limit. However, he can continue to recast his life. After all, he felt that his life recasting had not reached the limit, and he could continue his life recasting. Every time the life is recast, there is only good and no harm to the future, and the combat power will be greatly improved, and the strength is far beyond the same level. Therefore, he naturally has to try the 11th life recast. Even if there is danger, he is not afraid. The big deal is to lose a duplicate body. Perhaps even if some great ancestors have the potential to recast their lives for the 11th time, those top powers in Xuanqi territory will not come up with Yijinsha to cultivate them. Yi Tian muttered. After all, cultivating a great ancestor to the level of the 11th recasting of life requires far more resources than the sum of the previous 10 resources. Which force can cultivate it? In other words, Yi Tian has obtained a huge amount of different silver sands, and has the ability to fuse all things. He can fuse different silver sands into different golden sands, so there is no shortage of different golden sands. His situation is almost impossible to replicate, so other top powers can't have so many different golden sands, they can't find it at all. Therefore, they have no way to cultivate the ancestors who have been recasted 11 times. In the years that followed, Yi Tian used a large amount of different golden sands to refine the golden dragon stone, constantly tempering his life level, making the body recast 10 times a little bit better, so that he stepped into the countless times of tempering. To the 11th life recast. In the blink of an eye, the first year of hundreds of thousands of realms has passed. The 11th time recasting of life is too difficult. I have used so many golden dragon stones and have not succeeded. If it was another great ancestor, I would have given up long ago. Yi Tian didn't think too much, but continued to refine the level of life. During the years of his cultivation, the hurricane collar has also undergone some changes. One of the top forces with the formula was destroyed, and another great force was born. The force that was destroyed was called Haisheng Mountain. The 3 top forces of the original hurricane territory were Hurricane Pavilion, Sea Holy Mountain and Demon Sect. These 3 forces all possessed high-level immeasurable life forms and formulas. But the last time it invaded Zumi Jingshan Mountain, Haisheng Mountain was very unlucky. All the high-level immeasurable life forms that went to it fell, and there was only one high-order immeasurable life form left in the headquarters. Not long ago, 3 high-rank immeasurable lifeforms directly broke into the headquarters of Sea Holy Mountain, killed the high-rank immeasurable lifeform, occupied Sea Sacred Mountain, and robbed the formula. This is also due to the lack of Sea Sacred Mountain's background, and with the recipe, there is only one high-level immeasurable life form left, and it will naturally suffer. If Sea Sacred Mountain does not have a formula, it will not be destroyed. But if there is no formula, a big force will not be able to grow up, and development will not be able to develop. It can be said that in the absence of sufficient strength, it is not a good thing to have a formula. The other top power, Demon Sect, although still there, suffered heavy losses last time. It has already gathered members and can barely keep its foundation. The Hurricane Pavilion is not a problem, although it has suffered heavy losses, even the Hurricane Ancestor has been injured and has not recovered yet. But the Hurricane Pavilion has a backing, so even if the Hurricane Great Ancestor falls, it is not a big problem. But many great ancestors can still feel that the hurricane collar is not peaceful now, and it is much more chaotic than before. Of course, all of this has little to do with Yi Tian. He stayed in his residence to practice quietly, and some great ancestors came to visit him, but he didn't open the big formation to let them in. For Yi Tian, the change in the hurricane collar has little to do with him, he just wants to complete the 11th life recast as soon as possible. In the blink of an eye, the years of the first year of hundreds of thousands of realms passed. This day, Yi Tian has touched the threshold of the 11th life recasting, and it may only take a few hits to complete the 11th life recasting. Subsequently, he began to impact this bottleneck. The first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, after a full 18 rushing 233 strikes, consuming a large amount of golden dragon stone, he finally completely broke through the shackles and completed the 11th life recasting. The transformation brought by the 11th life recasting was not as good as the transformation brought by the 10th life recasting, but the improvement was still a lot, which also caused Yi Tian's strength to skyrocket. I seem to be able to recast my life. Yi Tian muttered. Immediately, he continued to use the golden dragon stone to refine the level of life, but he knew very well that the 11th life recast would probably take millions of years to complete. For Yi Tian, time is not an issue. Truncated Montenegro. A copy of Yi Tian's body appeared here, and he found that there were several more cracks that cut off the Black Mountain, and they all led to the true mountain territory. Although that great blood ancestor made a deal with me, he didn't put all his hopes on me, he is still trying to break the seal. Yi Tian murmured. Today, with his strength, he still can't see through the mystery of this seal. The existence of this seal may be the existence of high-level infinite life forms. Even if it is not, it is far beyond the level of the Void Whale Overlord. This day, a crack appeared in the cut-off Montenegro again, and the situation at the other end of this crack surprised Yi Tian. Chapter 2326 Cut off the finger. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian originally thought that this crack was also connected to the true mountain territory of Xuanqi territory, but when he stepped into this crack, he saw a special void. Here is. Yi Tian was very shocked. This was obviously a special void that was created, surrounded by incomparably powerful immeasurable extreme Dao power. Any immeasurable extreme Dao power was beyond his imagination. Even if he goes all out, it is difficult to shake the slightest bit here. It should be left by the mysterious existence who sealed the great ancestor of blood. 1 inch. Yi Tian thought to himself. Soon, he found that he could not leave here, and the passage when he came was gone. However, his strength has not been suppressed, and there is no sealing power. Obviously, this is not to trap outsiders. What was the purpose of that mysterious existence setting up such a place? Yi Tian sat cross-legged, silently comprehending the mystery here. As time passed, Yi Tian suddenly opened his eyes. I see, Yi Tian suddenly realized, if he hadn't guessed wrongly, after the mysterious existence sealed the blood, he left a little thing here by the way, which could be regarded as a little reward for the silent Black Sea. If the silent Black Sea will give birth to a powerful immeasurable life form one day in the future, and the blood will be born again, then perhaps the silent Black Sea can be saved with the help of the things here. Of course, this is just Yi Tian's guess. A legacy, I don't know what legacy it is. Yi Tian continued to comprehend, and at the beginning he didn't realize anything until a long time later. Boom, Yi Tian seems to have realized it. In an instant, his boundless will touched a certain mechanism in this void. Suddenly, an illusory figure appeared. This figure is surrounded by an extremely terrifying immeasurable Dao domain. No, it should be called the immeasurable extreme Dao domain, because this is the Dao domain born from the combination of infinite will and immeasurable extreme Dao. Immediately afterwards, the boundless extreme realm combined with the life force of the boundless beings, and gradually merged into one finger. Broken. With a single pointer, it shatters everything, and runs through the world. The power of this finger is terrifying to the extreme, enough to obliterate Yi Tian countless times. This is not a limitless extreme control technique. Yi Tian muttered. The boundless extreme Dao control technique is far from being so terrifying, it is definitely a more powerful technique, and it is an ability that he is currently unable to master. I saw this mysterious existence show this trick again and again in the form of a phantom, which is a kind of inheritance. How majestic and powerful the realm of limitless extremes is, it can be turned into a force of one finger to explode. Yi Tian was very curious. Immediately, he asked another hurricane leader, who had copied his body in Xuanqi territory, to inquire about this kind of information, and finally got a little bit of information in Kanshan Pavilion. Infinite Extreme Field Technique. This is a legendary level of power, and those high-level immeasurable lifeforms in the hurricane collar do not know, and even do not have the inheritance knowledge in this area, nor can they learn it. According to rumors, it is only necessary to learn a little bit of fur, and it is possible to slaughter high-level immeasurable beings of the same rank. I didn't expect that mysterious existence to leave a limitless extreme domain technique inheritance here. Yi Tian was secretly surprised. That existence obviously wants him to comprehend the limitless extreme domain skills here, and will let him leave. And he is only a middle-level immeasurable being. If he wants to realize an immeasurable extreme technique, it is undoubtedly difficult, but it is not hopeless. In terms of potential, foundation, strength, and comprehension, he is no different from the high-level immeasurable beings, or even more prominent, so he is very confident in himself. Then, Yi Tian began to try to comprehend this limitless extreme technique in the following years. As for the self-created limitless extreme field technique, he does not have the ability now. At the beginning, he was very ignorant about the limitless extreme domain skills, but as he continued to comprehend it, he gradually gained some insights. Like that mysterious existence condensing all of his boundless extreme realm on one finger, this has extremely terrifying requirements for his own body strength. If his body is not strong enough, if he dares to do so, his fleshly body will collapse directly. And Yi Tian has already carried out the life recasting 11 times, and it is the most perfect recasting method, so the body strength is stronger than the ordinary high-level immeasurable life forms. Therefore, he meets the requirements for cultivating the limitless extreme field skills, but it is still not enough to achieve the level of that mysterious existence. At most, he can accommodate a small part of the power of the limitless extreme field. So, Yi Tian started from accommodating a little bit of the power of the infinite realm, and slowly tried to practice the infinite realm technique. However, he still failed again and again, and each failure would cause a certain amount of damage to the physical body, and it would take a certain amount of time to recover. If it were other high-level immeasurable beings, they would definitely wait until the physical body recovers before going to practice, but Yi Tian ignored it and did not recover from the injury, and continued to practice directly. The big deal is that after the physical body is destroyed, copy one more to save time. If it is to recover from the injury, it will take a long time to recover, which is too much time consuming. Not long after, Yi Tian's cloned body was about to be scrapped, so he directly copied a new cloned body and continued to comprehend and practice the limitless extreme technique. In this way, Yi Tian scrapped one by one duplicated bodies in order to practice the limitless extreme technique. Quote, "The limitless extreme technique is really too difficult to practice, and that mysterious existence is too worthy of the silent Black Sea, that is, me. If it were another infinite life form, I was not qualified to practice at all. Even if I was qualified to practice, I can't practice it." Yi Tian thought to himself. Certainly, that mysterious existence might just do it casually and didn't think too much about it. Before you know it, millions of years have passed. On this day, Yi Tian finally completed the practice of this limitless extreme field technique, but only used 100,000th of the power of the limitless extreme field. Therefore, the power of this boundless extreme realm skill that was initially practiced is still very weak, and it is not weaker than his other boundless extreme realm control skills. But this represents a good start. Just need to continue to practice. This limitless extreme skill will become his most powerful attack method and trump card. Afterwards, Yi Tian continued to practice. His mastery of this limitless extreme technique became deeper and deeper, and his power became stronger and stronger. This day, Yi Tian displays this limitless extreme domain technique in this void, and the power of the boundless extreme domain is condensed in his fingers. Break. Yi Tian pointed and directly broke through this void and connected to the outside world. It actually broke through this void. It seems that it has reached the standard of that mysterious existence. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. I saw his body move, left this void, and returned to the top of the Black Mountain. Although this limitless extreme domain skill comes from the inheritance of that mysterious existence, each great ancestor will have his own imprint, and there are still some differences, so let's rename it. What's it called? Yi Tian pondered for a while, and then took a name, Truncated Finger. Chapter 2327 Break through the high-level immeasurable life form, Goodbye Blood. Open black lens bracket seeking full order. The power of the truncation finger has already surpassed Yi Tian's most powerful infinite extreme Dao control technique, but it is only several times stronger, and it has not yet reached a very exaggerated level. But Yi Tian's truncation refers to only reaching the qualification standard of the limitless extreme domain technique, and it can continue to be improved in the future. Once it has been continuously improved to a very high level, the power of this limitless extreme technique will be extremely powerful. I initially practiced the truncation finger, and my current strength has improved again, at least not too far from the level of the hurricane ancestor. Yi Tian muttered. In the following years, Yi Tian practiced cutting off his fingers while recasting his life. Before you know it, more than 3 million years of the first year of the world have passed. At this time, the power of the truncated finger has increased several times again, and he is about to complete the 12th life recasting. He had a feeling that 12 recasts might be his limit. For this breakthrough, Yi Tian prepared for a long time, collected a huge amount of different silver sand in the void-free galaxy, and then merged it into different golden sand, and then refined into countless golden dragon stones. Immediately, he swallowed a large amount of golden dragon stones to attack this shackle. After long years of continuous refining, Yi Tian's 12th life recast is about to be completed. Boom! The shackles were torn apart, and the countless golden dragon stones around were swallowed into 233's body by Yi Tian in a short period of time, prompting the rapid completion of the 12th life recasting. I don't know how long has passed. Yi Tian's 12th life recast has completely transformed successfully. 12 lives are recast. This is something other great ancestors can't imagine. Yi Tian muttered. After completing the 12 life recastings, Yi Tian's body was already strong to an unimaginable level, and even his boundless will reached 1,000 scales. Not only that, his infinite body has risen a bit in the perfection realm, but it is still far from the ultimate realm. He can only wait until he breaks through to a high-order infinite life form, and then uses a large amount of Heilu Tianjin. There is hope to elevate the infinite body to the ultimate realm. 12 times of life recasting, immeasurable will breaking 1,000 scales, comprehending the immeasurable extreme way, mastering a boundless extreme domain skill. It can be said that Yi Tian has reached the true limit that is difficult to reach by intermediate level immeasurable beings. Next, if he wants to quickly improve his strength, he can only break through to become a high-level immeasurable life form. 12 life recasts are my limit. Even if I use more golden dragon stones, I can't do the 13th life recast. There is no need to waste time. When the 12 life recasts are stable, I will prepare to impact the realm of high-level infinite life forms. Yi Tian thought so. Afterwards, he took some time to recast his 12 lives to completely stabilize it, and only then did he prepare to hit the high-level limitless life form realm. Cut off the sky. Yi Tian retreated here, and he prepared a huge amount of resources, some of which were transferred from the true mountain leader. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to impact the realm of high-level immeasurable beings. The impact of the middle-level immeasurable life body against the high-order immeasurable life body is to break the boundaries of life, which is the essential difference from the recasting of life. Life recasting is recasting on the original basis, rather than breaking boundaries. Now that Yi Tian has completed 12 life recasts, it is very easy for him to forcibly break the boundaries, and his body can definitely withstand it easily. Countless resources were absorbed by Yi Tian as his energy to break through the boundaries, and the endless energy from the outside world was also absorbed by him. As time passed, Yi Tian's boundaries were gradually torn apart. A moment, boom, the boundary was broken by Yi Tian, the level of life began to jump to the realm of high-level immeasurable beings, and the body began to transform in an unimaginable way. His aura continued to become stronger, increasing almost every moment. And Yi Tian's aura was too strong, even the formation that cut off the heavenly tower couldn't cover it up, and it diffused directly out, covering the cut-off Montenegro and the surrounding territory. Shish! The Taoist ancestors of the 9-story building came to the vicinity and were shocked by this power. What a terrifying power, much stronger than the power I've waited for. Dongchen Daozu exclaimed. At this time, CJFJ Juzan Daozu, who had already broken through to a middle-order immeasurable being, was also surprised. This should be the breath of a high-order immeasurable being. Anyway, I think the power of this breath is far beyond me, I can't judge. How powerful is this breath? Just the slightest leak is enough to make the middle-level infinite life body shiver. This should be the breakthrough of the endless Taoist ancestor to the high-order infinite life form, and now we have a high-order infinite life form in the quiet Black Sea. 1. It's really a good thing. I didn't expect that the silent Black Sea now has few intermediate-level immeasurable beings, but high-level immeasurable beings have been born. When other forces know about it, they will definitely be dumbfounded. The endless Tao ancestor is indeed too evil. It is said that the clone of the endless Tao ancestor has gone to Xuanqi territory, but unfortunately our strength is too weak. Once we go to Xuanqi territory and our identity is exposed, I am afraid that we will not live for long. Quote. Soon, other forces also knew that Yi Tian had broken through to become a high-level immeasurable being, and all of them were dumbfounded. Some top forces have not yet given birth to a middle-level immeasurable being, but Yi Tian has already become a high-order immeasurable being. What a huge gap. Finally broke through to the realm of high-level immeasurable life forms. Yi Tian was quite excited. His current strength is much stronger than in the past, definitely much stronger than Hurricane Ancestor, but it should still not be as good as the level of Void Whale Overlord. It's time to release the Great Ancestor of Blood. Yi Tian muttered. He had signed an agreement with Great Ancestor Oxue, and when he broke through to the realm of high-level immeasurable beings, he would release Great Ancestor Oxue. If he did not fulfill it, his cultivation would be affected to a certain extent. Then, Yi Tian went directly to the time and space sealed by the Great Ancestor of Blood, and met the Great Ancestor of Blood again. Yi Tian passed through the crack, fell into the inch of space and time, and soon came to the front of Bai Shui Daqi. At this time, the great ancestor Biao Shui was extremely surprised when he saw Yi Tian. Little guy, you have actually broken through to the realm of high-level immeasurable beings. The great ancestor of Blood was extremely shocked. The last time he saw Yi Tian, he knew that Yi Tian's potential was very high, and he had the hope of becoming a high-level immeasurable being, but he absolutely needed endless years. After all, if Yi Tian wants to break through to the realm of high-level immeasurable beings, he must join a powerful force, and it will take a long time before he can get the attention of that force, so as to obtain resources to cultivate, and then complete 9 life recasts after endless years. Only in this way can you enter the realm of high-level immeasurable beings. But how long has passed? Yi Tian has completed the breakthrough. This is simply incredible. Even if he tried his best to help Yi Tian practice, he would not be able to break through to a high-level immeasurable life form so quickly. It's incredible, the great ancestor of Blood murmured. Chapter 2328 Infinite Blood. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The great ancestor of Blood, let's meet again. Yi Tian said hello. Yeah, we meet again. I didn't expect you to break through to a high-level immeasurable life form so quickly. According to the agreement, you should release me. Great Ancestor Bai Shui said a little excitedly. He has been sealed for too long, so he can't wait to come out. Before, he could hardly see hope, but now he is about to come out, and he is naturally very excited. The Great Ancestor of Blood, Tell me the nodes of this seal, I will destroy these nodes, and the rest is up to you. Yi Tian said. Okay, Ancestor Bai Shui nodded. Immediately, Great Ancestor Biao Shui told Yi Tian the nodes of this seal. After Yi Tian learned about these nodes, he began to truncate Black Mountain to destroy these nodes. Boom! Yi Tian kept making shots, breaking one cut after another, which caused the cut-off Montenegro to keep shaking and collapsing. This scene directly alerted those who were in the restricted area, and those who reached the enhanced object level, Sol Lao, Chimu, etc., came out one by one. They were originally very annoyed. After all, once the truncation of Montenegro collapsed, it would affect the truncation restricted area. At that time, the truncation restricted area will also collapse and merge into the silent Black Sea, and their advantages will no longer exist. But when they saw that Yi Tian was destroying and cutting off the Black Mountain, they didn't dare to get angry. Sol Lao respectfully said, Lord Endless Tao Ancestor, the one who cut off the seal of Montenegro is a certain high-level immeasurable life form. If it destroys and cut off Black Mountain, that person will come out. I know, you don't need to worry about this matter. Yi Tian said. The old souls did not dare to say anything when they saw this. Immediately, they began to transfer their own races. After all, once the cut-off restricted area collapsed, they had to find a way to find a new territory to place their tribesmen. The other Dao ancestors of the Zhouzhanglo also knew about the situation of cutting off the Black Mountain, but they knew that Yi Tian did it, so they didn't ask any questions, they just came to watch. Boom! As the nodes were destroyed one by one, the truncated Montenegro finally collapsed into sections. Seal time and space. Biao Shui sensed that the nodes of the seal had been destroyed, and the chain of the seal that bound him had also loosened, and its power had been greatly reduced. Not only that, but this sealed time and space also began to crumble, unable to trap him. Immediately, Bai Shui mobilized the power of his whole body to shake this space-time. Break me! The power of the blood broke out and broke free of the chains. And this sealed time and space was also torn apart by him. In an instant, Biao Shui rushed out of the sealed time and space and came to the outside world. Finally out of trouble, the blood was extremely excited. He didn't know how many years he had been sealed, it was too long, even if he kept falling asleep, he woke up countless times. At this time, he saw a large number of Taoist ancestors around him, and the blood-devouring instinct in his heart was born. Immediately, he took a big mouth, and a suction force came, directly sucking the Taoist ancestors around. In front of him, those so-called Taoist ancestors had no resistance at all. Not good, old soul, Daozu Dongchen, their expressions changed. They have also broken through to the realm of intermediate-level immeasurable beings, but they did not expect that facing this high-ranking immeasurable being that has been sealed for countless years, there is not even a shred of resistance. How terrifying is this high-level immeasurable being? Endless Taoist, Dongchen Daozu shouted Yi Tian. And Yi Tian also shot at the first time. A golden spear pierced directly at the blood, interrupting the movement of the blood. Little guy, are you going to stop me? The blood was a little annoyed. Bao Shui, I released you, not to let you eat the Tao ancestor of the quiet Black Sea. Yi Tian said coldly. Bai Shui sneered. It's just a group of ants, what's the problem with eating it? I used to eat some Taoist ancestors or even the great ancestor when I was hungry. If you irritate me, even you will eat it. No wonder you were sealed. Yi Tian understood, Oxue must have angered someone who was far beyond Oxue, so he sealed it away. Little guy, don't mess with me, get out of the way. Qi Shui said coldly. Yi Tian released him, and he didn't want to kill Yi Tian, so as long as Yi Tian didn't stop him, he would not shoot at Yi Tian. However, Yi Tian couldn't just sit back and watch. In an instant, Yi Tian shot. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. The boundless body of the perfect state is urged, and then the boundless extreme domain technique is displayed, cut off the finger. With a terrifying pointer, Bai Shui's complexion changed. I saw a blood-colored armor appearing on the body of the blood, which was transformed from a limitless extreme control technique, with extremely powerful defensive power. However, under Yi Tian's finger, the blood-colored armor cracked directly. For flowers, and Shui's body also flew upside down, and his body was constantly cracked, and blood was scattered in the void. However, Yi Tian knew very well that the blood was not a big deal. Blood is so powerful, Yi Tian was a little surprised. You must know that Biao Shui has been sealed for countless years, and he must be in a weak state now, and may even have damaged his foundation, but even so, he can still catch his amputated finger. This is not an ordinary high-level immeasurable life form. Its peak combat power is afraid that it has surpassed the overlord of the virtual whale. At this moment, what was even more shocking was the blood. Biao Shui has a lot of knowledge, so he has judged a lot of things from Yi Tian's point in an instant. Your superior immeasurable body has been cultivated to the perfect state. Moreover, you have also comprehended an immeasurable extreme field skill, which is somewhat similar to that existence, and it should be that that person's inheritance was obtained by you, and you have also practiced it. And you have definitely completed more than 10 times of life recasting in the realm of the middle-level infinite life form. Bai Shui exclaimed. Yes. Yi Tian nodded slightly. Evil. Bai Shui sighed. He immediately said, well, I don't eat these Taoist ancestors, we don't need to fight, you can't kill me. No matter how weak I am, it is still a high-level immeasurable life form with immeasurable blood, you are just at a high level. It's only the first stage of an infinite life form, it's still too early to kill me. Blood. Yi Tian is puzzled, what is this? Biao Shui saw that Yi Tian didn't know about infinite blood, and couldn't help but wonder, you don't even know about infinite blood. Do not know. Yi Tian nodded. Biao Shui said with a smile, I thought you had a great background to break through to a high-level immeasurable life form in such a short period of time. I didn't expect you to even know about immeasurable blood. It seems that you have obtained certain opportunities to be able to break through so fast. 1. Can you tell me about the realm division of high-level immeasurable beings? Yi Tian asks. Yes. Bai Shui nodded, this is not a big secret. However, you can't trouble me in the future. As long as you don't eat the creatures of the silent Black Sea, I won't trouble you. Yi Tian assured. That's no problem, the creatures of your silent Black Sea are too weak, or else I just broke through the seal, and I don't even bother to eat. Bai Shui agreed. Immediately, Yi Tian let the other Taoist ancestors leave, and Yi Tian and the great ancestor Bai Shui came to a secluded place to chat about the corpse. Chapter 2329 5 Stages. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Little guy, let me tell you about the cultivation division of high-level immeasurable beings. Basically, it can be divided into 5 stages. The first stage is the realm you are in now, that is, you have just broken through to high-level immeasurable beings. The realm of the body. This stage is called the atavistic stage. 1. Bai Shui introduced. The atavistic stage. Yi Tian has some doubts. At this time, Biao Shui continued to explain. The so-called atavism stage is not the return of some biological blood to the ancestors, these are 2 concepts. The atavism stage 1 I'm talking about refers to the state of condensing the body of flesh and blood, and the body returning to the body of flesh and blood. Maybe the way we practice is different, but we all have flesh and blood at the beginning, and then the body becomes Tao and merges with the will. It is a combination of life, will, and various, 2, 3 energies, and has nothing to do with flesh and blood. Even if you can bleed, it is only the embodiment of energy, not the flesh and blood in cognition. Yi Tian nodded slightly, in fact it was. At the end of the practice, the body is indeed energized, and each Taoist ancestor is a collection of energy. But according to what Biao Shui said, the first stage of the high-level immeasurable life body is to go back to the ancestors and return to the body of flesh and blood. Immediately, Biao Shui said again, if the body completely returns to the flesh and blood, then it will be promoted to the second stage, which is called the bone-turning stage. Make the bones of immeasurable bones and construct the bones of flesh and blood. At that time, each bone will be transformed by the infinite extreme way, and the defense of the body will be raised to an unimaginable level. If you want to break the bones of this level, it will be shattered. The other party's immeasurable pole. And there are 365 immeasurable bones. After condensing 365 immeasurable bones, it represents the completion of the second stage of cultivation. At this time, it only needs to condense a drop of immeasurable blood, and it will cross the border into the third stage, which is my current stage. Condensed 365 immeasurable bones. Yi Tian took a deep breath. If he really did it, how terrifying his strength would be. How much blood is there? Yi Tian asked again. Biao Shui said with a smile. There are 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood in total. If so much immeasurable blood is condensed, it means that the third stage of cultivation is completed. And the fourth stage is to refine the immeasurable body. Infinite body is not an immeasurable body, but uses 129,600 drops of immeasurable blood to temper the whole body, and the muscles, acupoints, internal organs, brain and other parts are all tempered to the extreme, forming a supreme body. Infinite, this represents the complete completion of the fourth stage. As for the fifth stage, it is the technique of deriving immeasurable magical powers. After practicing immeasurable, the potential of immeasurable can be tapped, and every time a technique of immeasurable magical powers is tapped, the strength will skyrocket and transform. The power of any immeasurable supernatural power far exceeds that of the infinite extreme control technique, and the consumption of oneself is relatively small. Moreover, the technique of immeasurable supernatural powers will become stronger as its own strength increases. Full of potential, like the limitless extreme field technique you have mastered, it was actually created to fight against the limitless supernatural power technique, but the potential of the limitless extreme field technique is not as good as that of the limitless supernatural power technique. For immeasurable beings, the limitless extreme field technique is useless, but for the high-level immeasurable living beings before the fifth stage, the limitless extreme field technique is still extremely powerful. The stage of reversion, the stage of immeasurable bones, the stage of immeasurable blood, the stage of immeasurable body, the stage of the technique of deriving immeasurable magical powers. After Yi Tian learned about these 5 stages, he suddenly felt that he was still very weak. The great ancestor of blood, which level is my current strength? Yi Tian asked. It is equivalent to the stage of immeasurable bones with good strength, which is probably at the level of condensing 50 immeasurable bones to 80 immeasurable bones. Grand Ancestor Biao Shui estimated. Does the great ancestor of blood know the void whale overlord of the void galaxy? What realm is this in? Yi Tian asked again. Shu Mi whale, I know a little bit. Bai Shui said. Before I was sealed, this person was around 200 immeasurable bones, and now it should be unlikely to be promoted to immeasurable blood level, which is more than 300 at most. The level of root is immeasurable bone. From immeasurable bone to immeasurable blood, this level is not easy to break through. The overlord of the void whale is at the stage of limitless bones. Yi Tian has some understanding. From this point of view, the great ancestor hurricane should also belong to the boneless stage, but his strength is not as good as that of the void whale overlord. But even so, the great ancestor hurricane is almost invincible in the hurricane territory, and other high-order immeasurable beings are bound to be weaker, and they are basically only in the first stage of high-order immeasurable beings, the atavistic stage. Thank you, Yi Tian thanked. Although Biao Shui didn't tell him, he was able to inquire about relevant information, but the information disclosed by other high-level immeasurable beings was not necessarily as much as that disclosed by Biao Shui. Yi Tian chatted with Oxue for a long time before Oxue left the silent Black Sea and returned to the real mountain territory. From the beginning to the end, Biao Shui did not reveal who sealed him. But the existence of sealing him must transcend the immeasurable blood stage, and the lowest is the immeasurable high-level life form of the immeasurable stage. Bao Shui is indeed cruel, but he is right, I really can't kill him. As for releasing the blood, he does not regret it. After all, even if he does not release it now, after a long time, there is still hope that the blood will break the seal. Anyway, in the future, as long as Shui doesn't provoke him, and he doesn't come to the quiet Black Sea to make trouble, he doesn't care about Oxue's behavior. Afterwards, Yi Tian replaced his other duplicate bodies with high-level immeasurable life forms one by one, and the 5.9 body clone of the great ancestor Xuanming of Hurricane Caller also began to impact the high-order immeasurable life forms. Not long after, the cloned body of the great ancestor Xuanming also entered the realm of high-level immeasurable beings. And this cloned body has officially entered the circle of high-level immeasurable beings in Xuanqi territory. This day, Yi Tian came to the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion in Gaidu Mountain, and he wanted to buy some information about high-level immeasurable beings from Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion. He didn't fully trust the great ancestor of blood, so he had to buy some information to compare it. The Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion also sells related information inheritance. After a comparison, it is found that there is no problem, except that Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion only sells information about the atavistic stage of the high-order immeasurable life form and the immeasurable bone stage. As for immeasurable blood, immeasurable no information on this aspect has been disclosed. Chapter 2330 The whole body becomes flesh and blood, and the strength soars tenfold. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Xuanqi territory's control of knowledge is really too strict. 1 inch. Yi Tian muttered. However, it is normal to think about it carefully. The cultivation of high-level immeasurable beings is also explored step by step. Those top forces naturally do not want to pass on these precious knowledge. The knowledge that can be passed on is not too precious and cannot be restricted, so it will be sold. And the first stage of high-level immeasurable life forms, the first stage of reversion, if you want to transform the energy body of high-level life forms into flesh and blood, If you cultivate slowly by yourself, the speed is too slow, even if you cultivate from the beginning of Xuanqi territory's birth. It may not be possible to complete the transformation until now. In other words, without the help of external objects, there is no way to reverse the body of energy into a body of flesh and blood. And there are many substitutes for this foreign object, one of which is Halu gold. This is also the reason why Hurricane Pavilion wants to invade the Shuimi Jingshan mountain where the overlord of the virtual whale is located, and snatch the seafloor gold. After all, the cultivation of high-level immeasurable beings in Hurricane Pavilion requires seafloor gold. If there is enough seafloor gold, they can even condense immeasurable bones and enter the second stage. And Halu Tianjin is very useful for condensing immeasurable blood, but a little bit of Halu Tianjin is not very useful. It takes a lot of Halu Tianjin to help a person who condenses 365 immeasurable bones. The high-level immeasurable life form condensed a drop of immeasurable blood. The overlord of the virtual whale just wants to gather enough Halu Tianjin, so as to completely condense a lot of blood and enter the third stage. It's a pity that he burned his bloodline last time and hurt his foundation, so he can't reach the third stage for the time being. All the seafloor gold in my hand has been fused into seafloor sky gold. Using seafloor sky gold to practice atavism, condensing flesh and blood, the effect should be better. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, he is still short of seafloor gold. Last time, he had spent a lot of seafloor gold in order to cultivate the body of Wuji to the perfect state. Although he still has a lot of Halu Tianjin in his hand, he will need more Halu Tianjin to cultivate the promised body to the limit in the future. After reaching the stage of immeasurable bones, a large amount of seafloor gold or seafloor sky gold is needed. And the seafloor gold on his body is afraid that he will not be able to support him to condense all the boundless bones, and it is estimated that it can only be used for himself to cultivate to the level that he has just stepped into the second stage. Have to find a way to get some seafloor gold. Yi Tian thought to himself. And where is the seafloor gold? It is naturally the empty galaxy, and there is definitely a lot of seafloor gold on those overlords. Even Zumi Jingshan should have a lot of seafloor gold. If he snatch all of them, then he should not be short of seafloor gold in a short time. However, he couldn't beat the overlord of the virtual whale, and he couldn't snatch the seafloor gold of the overlord of the virtual whale at all. As far as he knows, the overlord of the virtual whale is the weaker one among the numerous overlords of the Wukong galaxy. The other overlords are also the highest level immeasurable beings at the peak of the second stage, and even some of them have condensed immeasurable blood. The strength is no less than the powerful overlord of the peak period of the blood. If you snatch the seafloor gold of those overlords, it will definitely be courting death. After pondering for a long time, Yi Tian suddenly had an idea. Perhaps there is no need to snatch the seafloor gold. Yi Tian is going to exchange some seafloor sky gold for more seafloor gold. He believes that many overlords or high-level immeasurable beings are willing to exchange. Because Halujin is of no use to the second stage high-level immeasurable life forms that impact the third stage, while Halutianjin is of great use. Moreover, the value of Halu Tianjin is too high. Even the Hurricane Pavilion does not have Halu Tianjin. The great ancestor of Hurricane has longed to obtain Halu Tianjin. Therefore, if he is willing to take out Halu Tianjin to trade Halujin, he can definitely get it easily. However, he had to be more careful when choosing whom to trade with, and he could not trade with any high-level immeasurable beings. Hurricane Pavilion doesn't estimate that there is much seafloor gold, and there is no point in trading with them. The best option is to trade with those overlords of Wukong Galaxy, but the premise is to obtain the qualifications to trade with those overlords. Yi Tian secretly said. Therefore, Yi Tian decided to practice for a period of time, at least to condense the flesh and blood. In that case, his strength should be comparable to the level of the virtual whale overlord. At that time, he will be qualified to trade with these overlords. Leave some Halu Tianjin as the best preparation first, and refine all the other Halu Tianjin to condense the flesh and blood. Yi Tian decided so. In the following years, Yi Tian practiced like this. The first stage of cultivation of high-level immeasurable beings is to use Halu Tianjin or Halujin and other similar substances to combine their own vitality to shape their flesh and blood. It is best to shape the flesh and blood body according to its own immeasurable body, so that the particularity of the immeasurable body can be preserved. For example, Yi Tian has practiced the body of Wuji, so he shaped the body of flesh and blood according to the body of Wuji, so that the body of flesh and blood after shaping also has the physique of the body of Wuji. As the pieces of Halu Tianjin were consumed, Yi Tian's high-level immeasurable life energy body gradually began to flesh and blood, and the speed of flesh and blood was much faster than other high-level immeasurable life forms. After all, what he used was Halu Tianjin 233, not ordinary Halugen. Yi Tian also tried to flesh and blood, but found that there was almost no change. At least 1,000 pieces of seafloor gold are needed to make my whole body flesh and blood. Yi Tian muttered. In fact, at least the high-level immeasurable beings won't want to waste so much. Even if they have obtained so much seafloor gold, they will definitely use it to break through the bottleneck. In Xuanqi territory, there are many treasures that can replace Halu gold or Halu Tianjin. They will find ways to collect other resources to slowly flesh them out. Good things like Halu gold or Halu Tianjin must be used in crucial moment. Only a local tyrant like Yi Tian would use Halu Tianjin all the time to practice. In the blink of an eye, the first years of millions of worlds have passed. At this moment, Yi Tian has refined 1,332 pieces of Halu Tianjin, and the Halu Tianjin on his body is running out, and there are only more than 1,000 pieces left. At this time, Yi Tian's whole body turned from energy to flesh and blood, and the powerful qi and blood power was enough to crush the ordinary middle-level immeasurable life forms. The strength has increased tenfold, and it is easier to use the amputated finger. If it is carefully perfected, the power of the amputated finger should continue to increase. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 2331 Trading with the Virtual Whale Overlord. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The cut-off finger is the physical body that accommodates the boundless extreme realm and the power of life, and then displays the cut-off finger. Therefore, the stronger the body is, the stronger the cut-off finger will be, and the more power it can accommodate in the boundless extreme domain. Therefore, with Yi Tian condensing the flesh and blood this time, the flesh body becomes stronger, and it is easier to accommodate the power of the limitless extreme realm, resulting in the formidable power of the cut-off finger will increase to a very terrifying level in the near future. My current strength should be enough to match the overlord of the virtual whale. Yi Tian muttered. Anyway, a high-level immeasurable life form like the Hurricane Ancestor is no longer his opponent. He is enough to crush the Hurricane Ancestor, but he can only defeat the Hurricane Ancestor, and he can't kill it. It's time to go to Overlord Shu Mijing to trade Halu gold. His amount of Halu Tianjin is not enough. I will use Halu Tianjin to trade his Halu gold, he will definitely be willing. Yi Tian thought to himself. This time, he did not copy the creatures of the Void Galaxy, because if he copied, he would not be able to exert his own strength. Besides, there are only so many high-level immeasurable beings in the Void Galaxy, and it is easy for him to copy one to reveal his identity. So, he directly copied the body with his own human. As for the cloned body of the great ancestor Xuanming, he had to mix in the Xuanqi territory, so it was naturally inconvenient to expose it. There is no empty Milky Way, the virtual whale mountain. Yi Tian came here. Although there is Wukong Galaxy's suppression, the strength of his copy body here is not very much. The Void Whale Overlord has the blessing of the Void Galaxy, and his strength is even stronger. However, the Overlord of the Virtual Whale is in a weak state, and the real combat power is estimated to be similar to him. Therefore, he is not afraid of the Virtual Whale Overlord. The roar of the Virtual Whale Overlord spread all over the surrounding territory. In an instant, the incomparably huge Zumi Whale Overlord came out of Xiaminjing Mountain, and his will was directly locked on Yi Tian. At this time, although Yi Tian used various immeasurable ancestral gifts to hide his appearance and breath, etc., he still couldn't hide it completely, and there was still a trace of breath radiating out. And this trace of breath revealed his identity as a non-Xuanqi territory creature. Outsider, you dare to appear in front of me. The Virtual Whale Overlord snorted coldly. Immediately, he shot directly. At this time, Yi Tian also motivated his own body of Wuji and cut off his fingers, and slayed the overlord of the virtual whale with one finger. Boom! Yi Tian collided with the attack of the virtual whale overlord, shattering the surrounding river area. A large number of void-free galaxy creatures were affected and annihilated directly. Infinite extreme technology. The face of the virtual whale overlord changed dramatically. In his opinion, Yi Tian is only in the first stage of the high-level immeasurable life form, and even the immeasurable bones have not been condensed, but his strength is no less than his. Normally, this is simply not possible. But Yi Tian possessed the limitless extreme domain skills, and his body was incredibly powerful, which almost broke the limit of the first stage high-order limitless life body. This outsider must have recast his life more than 10 times in the stage of the intermediate level immeasurable life form, and his superior immeasurable body has reached the perfect state, so the physical body is so terrifying. The virtual whale overlord guessed. It is not a matter of innate talent, but a matter of resources, for a superior and immeasurable body to reach the perfect state. Without enough precious resources, it is impossible to reach this stage. And even he can't provide so many resources, it can be seen that Yi Tian has a history, at least a lot of resources. Shu am I Whale Overlord, I came to trade with you, not to fight with you. Yi Tian said. What deal? Asked the virtual Whale Overlord. Since Yi Tian can't be killed, let's ask Yi Tian's purpose. How about I use Hailu Tianjin to trade your Hailu gold? Yi Tian said. The Void Whale Overlord would like to say, you are stupid, what high-level immeasurable life experience trades seafloor gold with seafloor gold? At his level, Hailu Tianjin is the real treasure, and Hailujin is an ordinary material, which is of no use to him. Are you sure you're using Hailu Tianjin to trade Hailu Jin? Asked the Overlord Shu Mijing. Sure, Yi Tian didn't say the reason, and the Void Whale Overlord naturally didn't ask. After all, such a good thing, he naturally agrees. The reason, does that matter? Even if Yi Tian has any plans behind it, it has nothing to do with him. How to trade, tell me, said the Overlord of the Virtual Whale. Yi Tian pondered for a while. His Hailu Tianjin was made up of 36 pieces of Hailu money, but it was impossible to trade only 36 pieces of Hailu money, it would be a huge loss. One piece of seafloor gold, trade 10,000 seafloor gold. 1. Yi Tian said. Although this exchange rate is very high, he believes that the Virtual Whale Overlord is willing to trade. Because another spoonful of seafloor gold is useful, seafloor. If enough Hailu Tianjin is collected, and when his injury recovers and the hidden dangers caused by the burning bloodline are eliminated, then he can start to condense an infinite amount of blood. Sure enough, after listening to the Overlord Shu Mijing, he agreed without hesitation. Okay, I agree. But then, the Overlord of the Virtual Whale said again, can you trade some of the seafloor gold first, and then trade it later? The reason why he made such a request was because he didn't have much seafloor gold in his hand, he was going to trade some seafloor gold with other overlords and then trade with Yi Tian. In this way, he can trade more Hailu Tianjin from Yi Tian. It is good, Yi Tian agreed. Not long after, the Overlord Shu Mijing took out a total of 530,000 good Hailu gold, and traded away 53 Hailu Tianjin from Yi Tian. Shu mi Whale Overlord, this is my messenger, you can use this to contact me, but you don't have to do anything else, or the Shu mi Whale Mountain will cease to exist. Yi Tian urged. The Void Whale Overlord nodded slightly, he would naturally not be detrimental to Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian is an incomparable evildoer, and the forces behind him must be terrifying. If he dared to deal with Yi Tian's mind, he might indeed die. Therefore, he only conducts transactions and does not do other things. Babble. Yi Tian left here, and the Overlord Shu Mijing was going to go to other overlords to buy Hailu gold. Let's go to the Dragon Scale Overlord first, he has a lot of seafloor gold in his hand, and he should sell some seafloor gold to me. Shu Mijing Overlord thought. In a short while, the Overlord of the Virtual Whale crossed the territory of the empty galaxy and came to the Overlord of Dragon Scales. Chapter 2332 Massive Harvest. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The body of the Dragon Scale Overlord is the Void Dragon Scale Fish, which is an extremely rare creature in the Void Galaxy. It has grown to a high-level immeasurable life form by practicing for a long time, and it is infinitely close to the third stage. About half a step away. In terms of strength, the Dragon Scale Overlord is stronger than the Zumi Whale Overlord, and the defensive power of the Dragon Scale Overlord is extremely terrifying, so the Dragon Scale Overlord is in the upper and middle ranks among the numerous overlords of the Wukong Galaxy. Shu mi Whale Overlord, you haven't recovered from your injuries, and you came to me. The Dragon Scale Overlord appeared, looking at the Shu mi Whale Overlord in surprise. And the Overlord of the Virtual Whale directly stated his intention. The Overlord of Dragon Scales, you have a lot of seafloor gold in your hands, right? There is indeed a lot of seafloor gold. Why do you want seafloor gold? That thing won't help you and me, said the Dragon Scale Overlord. I want to buy some seafloor gold, would you like to sell it? The Virtual Whale Overlord said. How much do you want? If it's too much, I definitely won't sell it. After all, the seafloor gold is useless to me, but it is very useful to the high-level immeasurable beings in the first stage. I also have them under my command. The high-level immeasurable life forms of the first stage have to be prepared for them. Dragon Scale Overlord said. I need more than a few $100,000, in short, the more the better. Said the Overlord of the Virtual Whale. So much. The Lord of Dragon Scale 233 was shocked, knowing that even if he had a lot of seafloor gold, He only needed a few million pieces, and some of the seafloor gold was still in the seafloor gold vein and had not been mined. The seafloor gold that he kept in his hand was actually only over 1 million yuan, while the overlord of the virtual whale would need hundreds of thousands of seafloor gold in one breath, which was too much. What are you going to exchange for it? Ordinary things are of no value to me. I won't exchange for seafloor gold. The dragon scale overlord clearly stated. Blue water god gold, how is it? The virtual whale overlord said. Blue water god gold. The dragon scale overlord thought for a while and said, it is indeed a good thing, but I also have this stuff, and I don't lack it, so I won't change it. The overlord of the virtual whale said a few more treasures, but the overlord of the dragon scale was still unwilling to change it. In desperation, the overlord of the virtual whale had no choice but to take out the Heilu Tianjin. Heilu Tianjin, you need this, I will use it in exchange. Heilu Tianjin. The dragon scale overlord was shocked. He is very clear that the overlord of the virtual whale also needs the seafloor gold. At present, in the void-free galaxy, many overlords are still in the second stage. So far they have not condensed a lot of blood, and they are all working hard to collect Heilu Tianjin. Although he doesn't know how much Heilu Tianjin is on the overlord of the void whale, he definitely hasn't collected it yet, otherwise the overlord of the void whale would have already gathered a lot of blood. Similarly, he didn't get it together, but it wasn't too far away. He probably needed a few hundred pieces of Heilu Tianjin to get enough Heilu Tianjin to help him reach the third stage. However, Heilu Tianjin is rare, and every overlord needs Heilu Tianjin. Unless he kills an overlord and robs the other side of the seafloor gold, it is possible to get it together. However, any overlord is not easy to kill, even if it is the weak state of the virtual whale overlord, it still has the means of perishing. So, this way doesn't work at all. Shu Mi whale overlord, you are crazy, you are going to give up the blood pooling with Heilu Tianjin to trade Heilujin. The dragon scale overlord was shocked. The void whale overlord did not speak. He would not reveal the existence of Yi Tian, otherwise, the dragon scale overlord would directly trade with Yi Tian. How could he obtain more seafloor sky gold from Yi Tian's hand transaction? Dragon scale overlord, do you want to do this deal? Asked the virtual whale overlord. Do. The dragon scale overlord is not stupid, and he is naturally happy when such a good thing falls on his head. How about a piece of seafloor gold, exchanged for 30,000 seafloor gold? The virtual whale dominates the road. He directly tripled the price Yi Tian gave him, so that he could still earn. Moreover, he believes that the dragon scale overlord is absolutely willing to make such a transaction. Really? The dragon scale overlord said excitedly. He excavated all the Heilu gold in the Heilu gold vein, and in total he could collect several million pieces of Heilu gold. According to the price of the overlord, he could exchange it for more than 100 pieces of Heilu Tianjin. If the overlord of the virtual whale is still willing to continue the transaction, he will find a way to get more seafloor gold, and then he can collect the seafloor sky gold that he needs to condense boundless blood. At that time, he will be able to directly break through to the third stage of the high-level immeasurable life form, and his strength will be greatly improved. Real. The virtual whale overlord nodded. Okay, let's trade now. 1. The dragon scale overlord hurriedly said. I'll only trade you 30 pieces of Heilu Tianjin. Overlord Shu Mijing was also afraid that Yi Tian would run away, and his trade would fail. Therefore, he couldn't use his own Heilu Tianjin, and only took out 30 pieces of Heilu Tianjin from the 53 pieces of Heilu Tianjin he had traded with Yi Tian before and traded with the dragon scale overlord. $30, yes, the dragon scale overlord did not dislike him either. For him, a piece of sea tower and sky gold was precious. Soon, the overlord of the virtual whale and the overlord of the dragon scale completed the transaction. The other side, Yi Tian merged the Heilu gold from the transaction one by one into the Heilu Tianjin, and immediately obtained a large amount of Heilu Tianjin. Then let's see how much seafloor gold can be brought to me by the overlord of the virtual whale. Yi Tian smiled. It didn't take long for him to receive a summons from the virtual whale overlord. So, he immediately went to Shuimi Jingshan Mountain and made a second transaction with Shuimi Jing's overlord. This time, he used Ju Heilu Tianjin to trade over 1 million pieces of Heilu gold from Zumi overlord. Immediately, the two parties agreed to continue the transaction later. In this way, with the passage of time, Yi Tian made several transactions with the virtual whale overlord, and a total of tens of millions of seafloor gold was traded, and the payment was only thousands of seafloor gold. You must know that his so much seafloor gold can be merged into nearly 1 million seafloor sky gold. Compared with the seafloor sky gold he paid, he made a lot of money. And the overlord of the virtual whale is also very excited, because he has earned a lot of Hailu Tianjin from it, and he has already gathered the Hailu Tianjin that condenses countless blood, and he just needs to wait for the injury to recover. But at this time, Yi Tian announced that he would no longer trade with the overlord of the virtual whale in a short period of time, because he had already sensed the aura of many nearby overlords. Obviously, the overlord of the virtual whale has repeatedly acquired Hailu gold from other overlords, which has already attracted the attention of other overlords, and they have begun to investigate. Wait for the next time there is no sea in building gold, come to Wukong Galaxy to trade here. Yi Tian decided. Chapter 2333 Condensing Boundless Bones, Extreme Tempering. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Afterwards, Yi Tian merged all the seafloor gold into pieces of seafloor sky gold. With so much Hailu Tianjin, Yi Tian is also ready to attack the second stage of the high-order infinite life form in the limit state of the infinite body. Let's hit the second stage first, it's a little easier. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he took out some Hailu Tianjin to condense countless bones. It has to be said that it is too extravagant to use Hailu Tianjin to condense immeasurable bones. Like other high-level immeasurable beings, they use Hailu Tianjin to condense immeasurable bones at most. Hailu Tianjin is reserved for condensing immeasurable blood. Hailu Tianjin. And Yi Tian is not short of seafloor sky gold, so he doesn't care about this consumption. Let's start to condense countless bones. Yi Tian absorbed pieces of seafloor sky gold and began to build boundless bones in his body. He was going to condense the bones of his hands first. After all, if the bones of the hands were condensed, he would use the amputation finger, and the formidable power would be even stronger. With the passage of time, as the power of Hailu Tianjin continued to guide it into the position of the index finger of the right hand, a boundless bone gradually condensed and formed. Boom! With this immeasurable bone condensed, Yi Tian seems to have broken some kind of shackles, and the flesh and blood began to transform, absorbing the energy of the outside world to increase wildly. After many years, this transformation finally came to an end. Breakthrough, entering the second stage of the high-level immeasurable life form, the immeasurable bone stage. Yi Tian said excitedly. At this moment, his strength has increased by nearly 4 or 5 times, and this is just a breakthrough, only one immeasurable bone has been condensed. As more and more immeasurable bones are condensed, his strength will become stronger and stronger. At this time, he faced 2 choices. One is to start condensing the second immeasurable bone, and the other is to continue to temper the first immeasurable bone. According to the secrets he understands, it is still possible to continue condensing and tempering the immeasurable bone after condensing it, and tempering this immeasurable bone to a more sturdy and powerful level, but it also consumes a lot of resources. And no matter how the boundless bone is tempered, it is impossible to be several times stronger than before, at most, it is only a few times stronger. Therefore, after other high-level immeasurable life forms condense immeasurable bones, they will not waste resources to temper him. It is like the existence of the void whale overlord that condenses the boundless bones. He definitely did not quench the boundless bones many times. After all, the quenching of the boundless bones is very difficult. Only the ultimate quenching can be completed. And how could the overlord of the virtual whale be willing to give up such resources? In addition, the consumption of resources is not proportional to the improvement of strength, and the overlord of the virtual whale will not do this. However, Yi Tian is not short of Hailu Tianjin. If he has Hailu Tianjin, it is easier for him to temper the immeasurable bone, but it will cost a lot more Hailu Tianjin. If the 365 immeasurable bones are all subjected to extreme tempering, it will definitely be of great benefit. Yi Tian guessed. Therefore, he decided to perform extreme tempering on the limitless bones. Afterwards, Yi Tian took out Hailu Tianjin to temper this first immeasurable bone. With the consumption of Hailu Tianjin, although the first immeasurable bone has been tempered, the effect of the improvement is minimal, and it is not even felt. I am afraid that it will take a long period of tempering to feel the improvement of this immeasurable bone. I can't feel the improvement when tempering with Hailu Tianjin. Other high-level immeasurable beings can't feel the improvement for a long time. Yi Tian muttered. Fortunately, over time, this immeasurable bone can still be improved. Before you know it, the first year of 1,000,000 worlds has passed. Finally, the first immeasurable bone was completely tempered to its limit and could no longer be tempered. And he also spent 50 pieces of seafloor sky gold, which is an unacceptable figure for the overlord of the virtual whale, they simply can't afford it. It takes 50 pieces of Hailu Tianjin to temper one immeasurable bone to the limit, so if 365 immeasurable bones are tempered to the limit, wouldn't it cost more than 10,000 pieces of Hailu Tianjin? High-level immeasurable beings like the Void Whale Overlord can gather 1,000 or 2,000 sea-floor sky gold to condense immeasurable blood, so it is impossible for them to accumulate more than 10,000 sea-floor sky gold for extreme tempering. The power of an immeasurable bone has been increased by more than 30%, but it has not improved the overall strength. It seems that all 365 immeasurable bones must be condensed and tempered to the limit before the overall strength can be exerted. Let's transform with quality, Yi Tian secretly said. Ask for flowers. Years passed, and more than 30 million years passed in a blink of an eye. At this time, Yi Tian has already condensed 36 immeasurable bones, and all of them have been tempered to the limit, and the strength is much stronger than in the past. At the same time, he is also consuming Heilu Tianjin to improve his promised body, but it is not easy to cultivate the superior immeasurable body Wuji body to the limit. Even if he has a huge amount of Heilu Tianjin, it also takes time to break through. Yi Tian is still practicing, and Wukong Galaxy is about to give birth to an overlord with boundless blood. Dragon Scale Abyss. At this time, the Dragon Scale Overlord is hitting the third stage. He has traded enough Heilu Tianjin from the Void Whale Overlord, plus the Heilu Tianjin he has collected over his endless years. He finally got enough Heilu Tianjin. Lu Tianjin. In addition, the auxiliary materials and other preparations were collected during this period of time, and finally began to gather a lot of blood. Boom. Innumerable materials plus Shanghai Sky Gold was absorbed into the body by the Dragon Scale Overlord, and then began to condense an infinite amount of blood. As time passed, a drop of golden red blood began to condense. This is not ordinary blood, but an immeasurable amount of blood that contains infinite extremes and terrifying qi and blood, but it has not been completely formed, and currently it can only be said to be in an unformed state of initial condensation. As the material continued to be consumed, the drop of blood gradually formed, exuding a terrifying pressure. If it is used to deal with the immeasurable life form of the middle order, a drop of immeasurable blood is enough to crush the body of the immeasurable life body of the middle order, and even the boundary of the silent Black Sea cannot bear the breath emitted by a drop of immeasurable blood, and it will collapse directly. The high-level immeasurable life forms that condense immeasurable blood, if they do not restrain their breath, the breath alone can make countless territories collapse, and the time and space of the ages will be annihilated. There is a huge gap in strength between a high-order immeasurable life form with immeasurable blood and a high-order immeasurable being without condensing immeasurable blood. Ha ha ha, finally breaking through. The Dragon Scale Overlord is excited about the corpse. Chapter 2334 Breakthrough of the Promised Body. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. A drop of immeasurable blood is completely formed, marking that the Dragon Scale Overlord has officially entered the third stage of high-level immeasurable life forms. At this time, his strength is constantly improving, and he is much stronger than himself before the breakthrough. Afterwards, he took a moment to stabilize his realm, and immediately headed to Zumi Jingshan Mountain. Shu Mi Whale Overlord has traded with me many times before and after, and I have obtained a lot of Heilu Tianjin from him, which is how to get enough Heilu Tianjin. It is said that the Shuimi Whale Overlord also cooperates with other overlords. After the transaction, the total amount of Heilu Tianjin he took out is enough to make an overlord condense a lot of blood. I'm sure he still has a lot of Heilu Tianjin on him. Enough to make him condense a lot of blood. It's a pity that his injury has not recovered, and he can't gather a lot of blood, otherwise he will definitely break through before me. The Dragon Scale Overlord thought so. Now, he, 3, is going to find the overlord of the virtual whale and snatch the sea floor gold on him. Maybe he can snatch a large amount of sea floor gold and the secret behind him. In the past, he did not dare to trouble the overlord of the virtual whale, because everyone was at the peak level of the second stage. Even if his strength was stronger, he had no absolute certainty to kill the overlord of the virtual whale, so he did not do it. But now, he has condensed a lot of blood, enough to easily kill the virtual whale overlord. Soon, the overlord of the virtual whale came to the virtual whale mountain, but he did not find the overlord of the virtual whale. What about your virtual whale overlord? The Dragon Scale Overlord grabbed a guard at Zumi Jingshan and asked. The master has left, I don't know where to go. The guard said quickly. Not here. The Dragon Scale Overlord frowned. Immediately, he contacted the virtual whale overlord, but he couldn't get in touch. At this time, he knew that the overlord of the virtual whale had obviously run away. Forget it, go back. The Dragon Scale Overlord is gone, and he did nothing to the creatures in the Zumi Jingshan mountain. After all, if he really killed these creatures, he would completely offend the Zumi Whale Overlord. When the overlord of the virtual whale comes back, it is very likely that he is already a high-level immeasurable life form in the third stage. There is really no need to provoke such an enemy. Inside the dark void at the bottom of a river somewhere in the voidless galaxy. The overlord of the virtual whale is hidden here, and this is one of his secret bases. The dragon scale overlord really came to me. The virtual whale overlord secretly rejoiced. After he learned that the dragon scale overlord was attacking the third stage and was about to condense a huge amount of blood, he ran here for the first time, and let his elite scattered away. In this way, even if Zumi Jingshan is invaded, the loss will not be too great. He knew that it was definitely not just the dragon scale overlord who was staring at him, other overlords also wanted Heilao in his hands. If he can't condense countless blood, then don't even think about returning to Zumi Jingshan. I originally wanted to slowly recover from the injury, but now it seems that it is too late. The hidden injury of burning blood can also be recovered with Heilu Tianjin, which probably requires dozens of Heilu Tianjin. In this situation, I can't bear it. The overlord of the virtual whale immediately took out a quick piece of Heilu Tianjin to repair the injury. After the injury recovered, he attacked the third stage of the high-level immeasurable life form, condensing immeasurable blood. I wonder if that mysterious outsider will trade with me again. If he trades with me again, I can get more seafloor gold. In the future, the cultivation speed in the third stage will be very fast. I hope to become the top overlord of the Void Galaxy. The overlord Shu Mijing thought to himself. With the passage of time, the injury of the overlord of the virtual whale recovered quickly with the help of Heilu Tianjin. It only took hundreds of thousands of years to completely recover, but it also cost 68 yuan. Heilu Tianjin. After, the void whale overlord began to secretly collect other materials. Originally, he collected the auxiliary materials almost, and it was only a little bit short. Soon after, he secretly collected all, and immediately began to attack the third stage, condensing a huge amount of blood. Not long after, boom, this dark void was directly shattered by the immeasurable blood of the overlord of the virtual whale, and the breath of the overlord of the virtual whale permeated the surrounding territory and was soon exposed. However, he has completely condensed his blood and entered the third stage of a high-level immeasurable life form. Even if his strength is not as strong as the dragon scale overlord, he still belongs to the same level. The dragon scale overlord can defeat him, but he cannot kill him. And he is now completely ranked among the top ranks of the many overlords of the Wukong Galaxy. That guy, the overlord of the virtual whale, has broken through. The dragon scale overlord vaguely sensed the breath of the void whale overlord, and it was already the breath of the third stage, at the same level as him. Afterwards, the overlords came to congratulate the virtual whale overlord, and the dragon scale overlord also went to congratulate. On the surface, everyone was still in harmony, as if there were no conflicts. Somewhere in the empty galaxy, one of Yi Tian's human clones has been in retreat here for a long time, and this is the nest he occupied here with another void-free galactic body. In this way, he doesn't need to transport the materials out, and he can safely retreat and practice without worrying about exposure. And, with the copy body, he can always learn some information about the Wukong Galaxy. For example, he has now also learned the information about the Dragon Scale Overlord and the Void Whale Overlord breaking through to the third stage of the high-level immeasurable life form. Certainly, he is not short of seafloor sky gold now, so he has not traded with the Virtual Whale Overlord, unless the Virtual Whale Overlord has something better in the future, then he will trade with them. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of worlds have passed, years have passed. The Void Galaxy was very calm, and the Hurricane Territory was also very calm, and nothing major happened. And Yi Tian, after a long period of hard work, consumed a lot of seafloor sky gold, and finally raised the body of the infinite to the limit. Once it reaches the limit of 5.9, this is also the limit of the limitless body, and it can no longer be improved. Boom! With the help of another piece of Heilu Tianjin, the promise body finally broke the shackles and entered the limit state. As a result, Yi Tian's flesh and blood began to transform, and his physical strength skyrocketed. The strength has at least increased several times. My current strength should be comparable to or surpass the ordinary third stage high-level immeasurable life forms, such as the Dragon Scale Overlord and the Void Whale Overlord, which have just broken through. Shouldn't be as strong as me. Yi Tian muttered. The body of the promise has been raised to the limit, and the main thing behind him is to condense and refine the limitless bones to the limit. But on this day, a big thing happened in the Void Galaxy. Chapter 2335 Void Silver Water, Void Gold Water. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. No empty Milky Way, cliff riverbed. This was originally an ordinary river area of the Void Galaxy, and there lived a group of Void Galaxy creatures, Wayu. Under normal circumstances, overlords hardly come here. But on this day, the riverbed of the cliff shook, the endless void shattered, and even the river water of the void-free galaxy was poured into a void area. Moreover, the silver-white rays of light illuminated the void in all directions, immediately attracting the attention of many creatures in the void-free galaxy, and the news naturally spread to the ears of those overlords. Immediately, the overlords came here to investigate the situation here. Dragon Scale Overlord, Void Whale Overlord, and other overlords all came one by one. Boom! A black giant ape came across the void, and the terrifying aura made the other overlords present tremble slightly. I have seen the overlord of Qingshan. I have seen the overlord of Qingshan. I have seen the overlord of Qingshan. The overlords became extremely respectful, even the dragon scale overlord and the void whale overlord did not dare to be disrespectful. You must know that these overlords 29 are very arrogant, and the reason why they are respectful to Qingshan overlord is naturally because of Qingshan overlord's strength. Qingshan overlord is the third overlord of Wukong Galaxy. He has accumulated nearly 100,000 immeasurable blood, and he has also cultivated a superior immeasurable body. He has cultivated to the limit, and has mastered an immeasurable extreme technique. In the eyes of Qingshan overlord, other overlords are all ants, which can be destroyed easily. At this moment, the Qingshan overlord ignored the overlords around him. Except for a few overlords whose strength was okay, the other overlords were not worth mentioning, and he was not qualified to respond. Overlord Qingshan looked at this place, not in a hurry to enter the emptiness area that suddenly appeared. Judging from the aura emanating from it, this should be a dark void that has existed for a long time, but a resource nurtured inside has reached a certain critical point, shattering the dark void, and this is revealed. 1. Qingshan overlord murmured, and what this resource is, they have already guessed. Void silver water. Many overlords have this idea in their minds. They were extremely excited when they thought that there was a high possibility of void silver water here. The value of void silver water is still higher than that of Halu Tianjin. Halu Tianjin can help the second stage high-level immeasurable life form to break the shackles and condense immeasurable blood, and it can also help the third stage high-level immeasurable body that has condensed immeasurable blood. Life is useful. But the amount of blood condensed is increasing, and the usefulness of Halu Tianjin will gradually decrease until it is completely useless. Moreover, Halu Tianjin is of no use to existences like Qingshan Overlord, and it can't help the high-level immeasurable beings in the third stage to impact the fourth stage. But void silver water is different, it is still somewhat useful to the existence of Qingshan Overlord, at least it can accelerate the condensation of countless blood. However, even if it is void silver water, there is no way to help the high-level immeasurable life forms of the third stage to impact the fourth stage. If you want to hit the fourth stage and use 129,600,000 blood to temper your whole body, you can use the advanced thing of void silver water, void gold water. Wow, Overlord Qingshan rushed into this void area, and his goal was not void silver water. After all, void silver water can only speed up cultivation, which is of little significance, and he also has several resources that can speed up cultivation. For him, the real value is void gold water. The place where void silver water is born is very likely to breed a small amount of void gold water. I hope this treasure will breed enough void gold water. Qingshan Overlord secretly said. Boom. All the overlords rushed in, they didn't want to take a step forward, causing the void silver water to be robbed by other overlords. What is that? Not long after an overlord rushed into the treasure land of this void area, he encountered a villain with a silver white light all over his body. These villains seem to be weak, but they possess a special power that instantly cuts off the small half of the overlord. As if the overlord defenses were not worth mentioning under this force. Although a small half of his body was cut, the overlord was only slightly injured, and his body healed quickly, but his internal injuries had not recovered. Not only this overlord, other overlords were also attacked. It is the associated creature of void silver water, void silver spirit. If the output of void silver water is large, such a companion will be born. The existence of void silver spirit means that there are many void silver water here. The strength of void silver spirit, if they are not powerful, they are comparable to the immeasurable intermediate level life forms, but they can mobilize the power of void silver water to burst out a terrifying explosion that cuts everything, so be careful. A well-informed overlord reminds other overlords. Afterwards, the other overlords were more careful and killed these void silver spirits one by one. They also found a lot of void silver water, and they were very excited. At the same time, the overlord of Qingshan also came to the depths of this treasure land. I found it, it really gave birth to the void golden water. The overlord of Qingshan was extremely excited. In these endless years, he has only collected a very small amount of void gold water, which is far from enough for him to reach the 4th stage. Now, he finally found the void silver water again. Fortunately, the White Mountain Overlord and the Blue Knight Overlord, those two guys have been retreating and attacking the 4th stage, completely blocking the perception of the outside world, and no one can contact them. They should not know the situation here, so they will not come to talk to them. I scramble for these void waters. Qingshan Overlord secretly said. Just when he shuttled past and wanted to take away these void golden water, some golden villains stopped him. Void golden spirit. Qingshan Overlord frowned slightly. Void golden spirits are comparable to high-level immeasurable life forms, and Mei Digi's life forms, but they can mobilize the power of the golden water here, and the power that erupts is even enough to threaten him. If it was just a few void golden spirits, it would be fine. After all, it was the power of the help, and there were still many flaws, and he could kill them one by one. But there are a lot of void golden spirits here, and the combined power is enough to threaten his life. It doesn't matter, no matter what, you have to snatch the void golden water here. Overlord Qingshan rushed over and fought with these void golden spirits. Boom, battles in this area have caught the attention of other regional overlords. Immediately, these overlords were startled. They did not expect that there would be such a terrifying void golden spirit here. If they encountered it, they would surely die. Quickly grab some void silver water and withdraw. Some overlords thought. Chapter 2336. See you again. Open black lens bracket, full order, close black lens bracket. Finally got it. Overlord Qingshan grabbed dozens of balls of void golden water, although there were still some void golden water, but in order to snatch these void golden water, he was forced to snatch them against the attacks of these void golden spirits. At this moment, his injury was not light. Walk. The overlord of Qingshan chose to leave directly. After all, if he fell into it and could not escape, he would have the possibility of falling. No matter how great the value of void gold water is, it won't make him lose his life. As the overlords of Qingshan fled, these overlords also panicked. If those void golden spirits attack them, they would not be able to stop them. The void golden spirits that have not been taken away from the void golden water are still staying near their void golden water at the moment, but some void golden water was taken away by Qingshan Overlord, but the void golden spirit was not killed. These void golden spirits were quickly killed. They fell into madness and wanted to kill the overlords present. Fortunately, these void golden spirits now use very little void golden water power, and most of them are still void silver water, so the strength they exert is not as strong as before, but it is also much more powerful than many overlords. Soon, the overlord will be unlucky. Boom. An overlord who was at the peak of the 2nd stage was directly locked by 5 void golden spirits and penetrated through his body. Suddenly his body collapsed, his will was annihilated, and he turned into a corpse. Escape. The overlord of the virtual whale does not dare to stay here. He chose to escape directly, but fortunately he also obtained a lot of void silver water, so this trip was not bad. In a blink of an eye, the overlords here all fled. Only the 2 overlords had bad luck and were killed, and the other overlords only suffered some injuries and their lives were not serious. With the fall of these 2 overlords, their territory will soon be divided up, but it will not affect the overall pattern of Wukong Galaxy. Ha ha ha, I have gained a lot this time, and it is fortunate that I have condensed a lot of blood and entered the 3rd level, so that I can get so much void silver water. The virtual whale overlord said excitedly. He made statistics and found that he had obtained a total of 1,300 balls of void silver water this time. Although he couldn't compare it with the harvest of Qingshan Overlord, after all, Qingshan Overlord harvested void golden water, the two are not comparable at all. No matter how much silver water in the void, there is no way to help a high-level immeasurable being of the 3rd stage to hit the 4th stage, but the golden water of the void can help the 4th stage. And not long after, this treasure land was also exposed, the overlords who had not come also rushed in, and even the powerhouses outside the void galaxy also came here, constantly robbing the void silver water. And the overlord of the virtual whale has also entered many times, but they all entered with the large troops, otherwise he would not dare to enter. At the beginning, the harvest was not bad, but later, the amount of void silver water was greatly reduced, and it was even impossible to find it. And a large number of void silver spirits and void golden spirits in that treasure land were also killed, and the entire treasure land turned into a real void area, and there was nothing left. Of course, after a long time, there may be some void silver water and void gold water. Another time passed. At this time, Yi Tian knew about void Yinshui. After all, he doesn't have an overlord-level clone body, so he doesn't know the intelligence between the overlords, and the overlords try their best to block the news, resulting in his clone body not being aware of the situation in time. When the news is really understood by other creatures in the void-free galaxy, there is no void silver water there. In fact, even if they knew the information, those creatures of the void-free galaxy would not dare to enter, otherwise they would die. After all, there are more than 1 or 2 overlords who have fallen this time. Any overlord is at least a high-level immeasurable being at the peak of the second stage. How powerful is it? It still fell there. Void silver water is very valuable. When I step into the third stage and condense immeasurable blood, although Heilu Tianjin is also useful, the effect is far less than the void silver water. Moreover, there is a void above the void silver water. Golden water. My ability to fuse all things should be able to fuse void silver water into void golden water. The value of a mass of void golden water is even more terrifying, far exceeding void silver water. Yi Tian muttered. According to his understanding, the void golden water can not only help the high-level immeasurable life forms of the third stage to impact the fourth stage, but also has a special purpose. That is, void gold water can improve the quality of immeasurable blood. This is a secret that many high-order immeasurable beings know, but no one will improve the quality of immeasurable blood because the price is too high. How rare is the void golden water? Even a high-level immeasurable being like Qingshan Overlord can hardly collect the void golden water that will allow him to hit the fourth stage. Quality. 196 million drops of immeasurable blood, all to improve the quality. How much void gold water must be paid? No matter what major force it is, it can't afford to consume such resources. In the boundless bone stage, some big forces grit their teeth and can cultivate a high-level boundless life form that can refine the boundless bone to the limit, but in the boundless blood stage, it is really impossible to do so. Yi Tian also doesn't know how much void gold water he needs to refine his blood, but it is definitely a terrifying number, so it is best to collect some void silver water at this time. Void silver water is useful to the high-level immeasurable life forms in the third stage, and its value is higher than that of Heilu Tianjin, but those overlords who are at the peak of the second stage cannot use the void silver water, and they may be willing to trade some void silver water in exchange for Heilu Tianjin. However, I can't come forward. It is better to let the void whale overlord come good enough to buy void silver water instead of me. Yi Tian thought so. So, Yi Tian contacted the virtual whale overlord. The outsider contacted me. The virtual whale overlord was thinking about seeing Yi Tian again. He has now condensed a lot of blood, and has obtained a lot of void silver water, so he doesn't need Heilu Tianjin anymore. Heilu Tianjin is the most suitable for high-level immeasurable beings in the second stage, while void silver water is most suitable for high-level immeasurable beings in the third stage. Therefore, he will not trade Heilu Tianjin Tao again. Then, there is no point in trading with Yi Tian again. Forget it, let's meet again. If he doesn't have any good deals, then don't meet him again. It's not a good thing to meet these outsiders. Not long after, Yi Tian and the virtual whale overlord met again. Chapter 2337 The void gold water is fused. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The second stage. The void whale overlord saw that Yi Tian had already condensed immeasurable bones, and was not surprised at all. After all, Yi Tian had already condensed flesh and blood last time, and he was only one step away from condensing immeasurable bones. With Yi Tian's resources, and even Heilu Tianjin, it would be easy to condense immeasurable bones. Moreover, he was able to sense that Yi Tian had a lot of immeasurable bones condensed. However, he does not think that Yi Tian's strength can match his own. Before, when Yi Tian was the first stage of flesh and blood, he was able to draw a tie with him entirely because he was in a weak state, and he had not gathered a lot of blood. Now, his injury has recovered, and he has advanced to the third stage. After condensing countless blood, his strength has skyrocketed many times. And even if Yi Tian breaks through to the second stage, his strength increase cannot be as high as his. Of course, the overlord of the virtual whale was not here to fight Yi Tian. Shu mi whale overlord, we meet again. Yi Tian said with a smile. The overlord of the virtual whale frowned and said, Your Excellency invites me to trade Heilu Tianjin again, I don't really need it now. Yi Tian hurriedly said, Don't rush to refuse the transaction, the overlord of the virtual whale, you don't need Heilu Tianjin yet, but other overlords in the second stage definitely need Heilu Tianjin. That has nothing to do with me. The original intention of the Void Whale 250 Overlord did not want other overlords to get too much seafloor gold, otherwise the other overlords would break through to the third stage one by one, condensing a lot of blood. At that time, he will be at the level of a weaker overlord again. In the future, it will be difficult for him to obtain resources in the Void Galaxy again. So, he doesn't want other overlords to grow up. Yi Tian roughly guessed the mind of the Void Whale Overlord, so he said, "Shu Mi Whale Overlord, do you want Void Golden Water?" Void Gold Water. When the Overlord of the Virtual Whale heard this, he was immediately excited. Although he has a lot of Void Silver Water, he does not have a cloud of Void Gold Water. That is a treasure that can help the third stage high-level immeasurable life form to impact the fourth stage treasure. Do you have Void Gold Water? The Void Whale Overlord doesn't quite believe it. After all, Yi Tian is only in the second stage of the high-order immeasurable life form. It is still possible to get Hailu Tianjin, but the resource of Void Golden Water is not something Yi Tian can do. Get it? I can get it, provided you have to trade some Void Silver Water to me. If you can trade Void Silver Water from other overlords, I can provide you with Void Gold Water. Void Gold Water can not only help impact the fourth stage, even if it is used to condense an infinite amount of blood, its effect is far more than the Void Silver Water. Yi Tian said, "Really?" The Void Whale Overlord is still a little unconvinced. "Believe it or not," Yi Tian said. The Virtual Whale Overlord pondered for a while, and finally made a decision. "Your Excellency, I will use some Void Silver Water to trade with you some sea building sky gold. Next time I trade, I hope you can bring some Void Gold Water." The Virtual Whale Overlord suggested. He is not afraid of Yi Tian repenting. After all, he used the Void Silver Water to trade some Hailu Tianjin. Even if Yi Tian ran away, he could also use these Hailu Tianjin to trade some Void Silver Water from other overlords to ensure that he would not lose money. "It is good," Yi Tian agreed. Immediately, Yi Tian took out 1,000 pieces of Hailu Tianjin. If it was in the past, so many sea towers and sky gold would be enough to make the overlord Shu Mijing excited, but now it feels like that. The Void Whale Overlord also took out some Void Silver Water and gave it to Yi Tian to complete this transaction. After this transaction was completed, Yi Tian left immediately. And the Void Whale Overlord thoughtfully said, "Last time I used Hailu Gold to trade Hailu Tianjin, this time I used Void Silver Water to trade Void Gold Water. This outsider or the forces behind him have special means. Can the sea floor gold be turned into sea floor sky gold, and the Void Silver Water can be turned into Void Gold Water? No one is CJFJ, a fool, and this abnormal behavior naturally arouses his speculation." But without knowing it, he didn't dare to deal with Yi Tian rashly. "Forget it, I still can't take risks. It is very likely that there is an extremely powerful force behind this outsider. There is no need to do it for the sake of a little guess. It is better to follow this transaction. It will also help me, and I also hope to become the fourth stage. High-level immeasurable life forms." The Virtual Whale Overlord secretly said. "I'm afraid this illusory whale overlord has guesses, but so what, does he dare to do it? Even if he does, he probably won't be able to beat me." Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he didn't panic at all. "Start merging these Void Silver Waters." Yi Tian put a cloud of Void Silver Water in front of him, and then activated the ability of copying talent to fuse all things. These Void Silver Waters began to melt, and after only merging 18 groups, the Void Silver Water turned into Void Golden Water. Success! Yi Tian was quite excited. Soon after, he fused all the Void Silver Water obtained from the transaction and obtained some Void Gold Water. Although there is not much Void Gold Water, it is enough for the next transaction. At least I can convince the Void Whale Overlord that I have a large amount of Void Gold Water. As for the price, it is fixed at 100 balls of Void Silver Water for 1 Void Gold Water. At such a low price, I believe that the Overlord of the Virtual Whale will definitely be willing. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. Of course, the Virtual Whale Overlord will definitely not price so low, but he doesn't care how he sets the price. As long as the Void Whale Overlord can get enough Void Silver Water, that's fine. After all, if he wants to make money, he also needs to make some money from the Overlord of the Virtual Whale, so that he can maintain a long-term transaction. After a while, Yi Tian contacted the Virtual Whale Overlord again and met at the old place. "Shu Mi Fishmaster, a group of empty golden water, the price I give you is a group of empty silver water, all of you," Yi said. "It's really Void Gold Water." The pupils of the Virtual Whale Overlord shrank, and his heart was quite excited. "I don't have that much Void Silver Water, so let's trade 10 balls of Void Gold Water first." The virtual whale overlord said. Can. Yi Tian nodded in agreement. Afterwards, Yi Tian completed the transaction with the overlord of the virtual whale. And the void whale overlord immediately went to other overlords after the transaction was completed, and he had to find a way to get the void silver water from other overlords. Chapter 2338 Remnant Heaven Pavilion, Great Ancestor Shuiyu. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The goal of the void overlord is very clear. He first goes to those second stage overlords who have obtained a little void silver water. These overlords are about the same strength as the former him, and they have not yet gathered a lot of blood. They are in urgent need of treasures like Halutianjin. As for the void silver water, although its value is very high, it is still above the heavenly gold of Halu, but it cannot help them condense the first drop of immeasurable blood. Void silver water can indeed help high-level immeasurable lifeforms in the third stage to condense immeasurable blood, but that is when they have the first drop of immeasurable blood. Blood and many resources once again condense more immeasurable blood. But in the absence of boundless blood, the void silver water cannot play its role. Therefore, those overlords must hope to replace the void silver water with the seafloor sky gold. After all, being able to enter the third stage is what they most desire. However, other hegemons do not want these hegemons to enter the third stage, so these hegemons cannot find the object of the transaction. But the Shu Mi whale overlord appeared, looking for these overlord transactions, and immediately attracted a lot of second stage overlords. Shu Mi whale overlord, can you really exchange void silver water for some sea building sky gold? The Xuanlong overlord of Wukong Galaxy found the void whale overlord and asked. It turned out to be the overlord of the Xuanlong. Naturally, the void silver water can be exchanged for the seafloor sky gold, although the value of the void silver water far exceeds the seafloor sky gold. But for the second stage high-level immeasurable life forms, the seafloor sky gold is more useful. Therefore, a ball of void silver water can only be exchanged for 10 pieces of seafloor sky gold. Said the overlord of the virtual whale. A ball of void silver water can only be exchanged for 10 pieces of seafloor sky gold. The Xuanlong overlord only hesitated for a moment before making a decision. That's the deal. No matter how precious the void silver water is, there is no way to help him condense the first drop of immeasurable blood. If he doesn't trade, it will take a long time for him to gather enough Halutianjin on his own. In case of any change during the period, such as a more powerful overlord robbing him of the seafloor gold, his previous achievements have been abandoned. Therefore, it is necessary to break through to the third stage as soon as possible, and that is the most important thing. Okay, I'll trade. The Xuanlong overlord nodded. He now has 68 groups of void silver water, which can be traded from the overlord of the void whale to 680 pieces of Halutianjin, which is almost enough to hit the third stage. Then let's trade. The virtual whale dominates the road. Soon enough, they close the deal. With the passage of time, the overlord of the virtual whale has completed transactions with several overlords, and also secretly traded with Yi Tian again and again, and both parties have obtained huge benefits. Among them, Yi Tian got the most benefit, and he gradually gathered a large amount of void gold water in his hands. And the void whale overlord is also a small gain, and there is also some void gold water on his body. It can be said that Yi Tian and the overlords of the virtual whales are doing business without capital, and those overlords pay the bill. But there are so many overlords in Wukong Galaxy, and there are only so many void silver water. Therefore, the transaction between Yi Tian and the overlord of the void whale was soon over. 1,302 groups of void gold water, we can only get so much for the time being. Although there are still many third-stage overlords who have void silver water in their hands, to trade with them, we must take out void gold water. The overlords all know that I have a lot of void gold water in my hands, and I am afraid that even the top overlords such as Qingshan Overlord will know the information. At that time, Qingshan Overlord will stare at me, it will be a little troublesome. Quote. Yi Tian muttered. Moreover, the place with void silver water is not only the void galaxy, he can also trade void gold water through other channels, but he has to take the risk of being targeted. Let's slowly condense countless bones first. Yi Tian muttered. As the years passed, the countless bones on Yi Tian's body condensed one by one, and then underwent extreme tempering. 100 immeasurable bones. 120 immeasurable bones. 130 immeasurable bones. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's sea-floor sky gold consumption rate is too fast, and the more boundless bones condensed, the more difficult it will be to continue the extreme tempering, and the more sea-floor sky gold will be consumed. In addition, he had traded out a lot of Halutianjin before, so his own Halutianjin was not enough. The seafloor gold reserves of Wukong Galaxy are not too much, and the endless years have been depleting. I can't get too much seafloor gold in Wukong Galaxy. For flowers, Yi Tian secretly said. Immediately, he was going to try to make a transaction from the Cantilever Pavilion, and trade enough seafloor gold at one time. Just use the identity of the great ancestor Xuanming. If you are killed by an attack, it's a big deal to change your identity. Yi Tian thought to himself. The capital of hurricanes, Gaidu Mountain. Yi Tian came here and entered the Remnant Heaven Pavilion. Because he was a high-level immeasurable being, he entered the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion, and the great ancestor Fengyan of Cantilevered Heavenly Pavilion received Yi Tian directly. Ancestor Xuanming, long time no see. Fengyan Great Ancestor Road. The great ancestor of Fengyan, I came to Cantilever Pavilion this time to buy Hailu gold. I wonder if Cantilever Pavilion has it. Point 0. Yi Tian said directly. Hailu Jin. Fengyan Great Ancestor was a little shocked. This is a scarce resource, and there are Hailu to sell it. Therefore, Fengyan Great Ancestor said. Xuanming Great Ancestor, we do have seafloor gold in Canshan Pavilion, but it is impossible to sell it. After all, it will take me a long time to obtain a small amount of seafloor gold. I'm not trading with you, but with the higher-ups behind you. I am willing to exchange Hailu Tianjin for Hailu Jin. Yi Tian said. What? Hailu Tianjin? Fengyan Great Ancestor was extremely shocked. Isn't Xuanming Great Ancestor stupid, actually willing to trade Hailu Tianjin for Hailu Jin? I can't take charge of this matter. Fengyan Dazu clearly stated. After all, he is just an ordinary first-stage high-level immeasurable life form, and naturally he cannot interfere in the transaction of such resources. Then ask Canshan Pavilion to send a great ancestor who is qualified to be the master. 1. Yi Tian said. Okay, but it will take a little time, said Fengyan Great Ancestor. Immediately, he notified the Canshan Pavilion headquarters. Time passed a little bit, and it didn't take long for a great ancestor to quietly come to the Canshan Pavilion in Gaidu Mountain through a special channel. And Yi Tian also saw the high level of the Cannibal Pavilion, who was a high-level immeasurable being who had entered the third stage, and was also a woman. Ancestor Xuanming, this is the elder of our Canshan Pavilion headquarters, Ancestor Shuiyu. Ancestor Fengyan introduced Taoist Corpse. Chapter 2339. The transaction with Canshan Pavilion is worth thousands of dollars. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Grand Ancestor Shuiyu. Yi Tian carefully looked at this great ancestor, and could initially judge that the immeasurable blood condensed by the other party was definitely a lot, but it was not a high-level immeasurable life form that was just entering the third stage of the Void Whale Overlord. The strength of this ancestor Shuiyu is probably no less than mine. Yi Tian secretly said. At this time, great ancestor Shuiyu was also looking at Yi Tian. The information is different from that provided by the Fengyan Great Ancestor. This Xuanming Great Ancestor has clearly entered the second stage of a high-level immeasurable life form, and even condensed a lot of immeasurable bones. Ancestor Shuiyu secretly said. Certainly, he doesn't think Yi Tian is his opponent, so whether it is the second stage or the first stage, there is no difference. Grand Ancestor Xuanming, according to Grand Ancestor Fengyan, you have Hailu Tianjin in your hand, and are you willing to use Hailu Tianjin to trade Hailu Jin with us at Canshan Pavilion? Shuiyu Dazu asked. 250. Yes, Yi Tian replied. Great Ancestor Shuiyu was secretly surprised that all the major forces were short of seafloor gold. In the realm of high-order immeasurable beings, the most numerous are naturally the high-order immeasurable beings of the first stage, but the backbone is the second-stage immeasurable high-order bodies that condense the immeasurable bones. For example, in the Cantilever Pavilion, many things are handled by second-stage high-level immeasurable beings like Fengyan Great Ancestor. Only when they can't handle them well, will third-stage high-order immeasurable beings like him appear. And all the second-stage high-level immeasurable lifeforms are eager to condense immeasurable blood and impact the third stage, but lack substances such as Hailu Tianjin. No matter how powerful the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion is, there is not enough seafloor sky gold to cultivate the high-level immeasurable lifeforms under its command. Therefore, if there is a chance to obtain the seafloor sky gold, they will naturally seize it at all costs. Now, Ancestor Shuiyu heard that Yi Tian was going to exchange Hailu Tianjin for Hailu Jin, and he was also very confused, but if he really completed such a transaction, it would be a good thing for Canshan Pavilion. It's just that he didn't know how much Hailu Tianjin Yi Tian would take to trade Hailu Jin. If it was too little, it would be of little significance. I hope it's more than 10 yuan, so I don't come for nothing. Ancestor Shuiyu secretly said. Immediately, he asked Yi Tian. Ancestor Xuanming, how much seafloor gold are you going to exchange for a piece of seafloor sky gold? No great ancestor has ever traded like this, so there is no uniform price. Yi Tian said directly, 10,000 pieces of seafloor gold in exchange for one piece of seafloor gold, this is the price I gave. This price is also the price he set with the virtual whale overlord, so his price remains unchanged. Ancestor Shuiyu agreed directly. Although 10,000 seafloor gold is a lot, Canshan Pavilion still has a lot of seafloor gold veins and other channels, so the reserves of seafloor gold are still quite large. Even compared with the entire Void Galaxy, the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion is stronger. Perhaps in front of such forces as Hurricane Pavilion, Wukong Galaxy is a real resource treasure, and it is extremely eager to enter it, but for Canshan Pavilion, Wukong Galaxy is just like that, but it is not worth the cost to develop. Just like Xuanqi Pavilion, if they really want to, they can easily let countless great ancestors cross the empty galaxy. As for the sales quota and only letting a few great ancestors leave the hopeless place, this matter is only the responsibility of a certain high-level immeasurable being in a small department of Xuanqi Pavilion, and it cannot rise in the eyes of the senior officials of Xuanqi Pavilion. The Void Galaxy does not have the fourth stage high-level immeasurable life forms, maybe there used to be, but not anymore. And Canshan Pavilion is a high-level immeasurable life form that clearly exists in the fourth stage, and there are even more than one. From this, it can be seen how powerful the Canshan Pavilion is, and naturally there is no shortage of seafloor gold. However, since Heilu Tianjin itself is extremely rare, it is difficult to collect too much Heilu Tianjin even in the Remnant Heaven Pavilion. Under the surprised gaze of great ancestor Shuiyu, Yi Tian took out 1,000 pieces of seafloor gold. According to the transaction price just now, so much Heilu Tianjin can be traded from Cantilever Pavilion to tens of millions of Heilu Tianjin. You actually own 1,000 pieces of seafloor gold. Ancestor Shuiyu was extremely surprised. It's not that he hasn't seen so many Heilu Tianjin, but Yi Tian has no background, and it didn't take long for him to become a high-level immeasurable being. He could find so many Heilu Tianjin, it was incredible. You must know that even if he had collected more than 2,000 seafloor gold in order to attack the third stage, it took a long time, and even lost hope for a time, and wanted to give up attacking the third stage. Ancestor Xuanming, I don't have so much seafloor gold in my hand, and this branch doesn't have so much seafloor gold. I need to apply for some seafloor gold from the headquarters. Shuiyu ancestor said. $7. Yi Tian nodded and waited for the great ancestor Shuiyu to bring Heilujin over. Swish, the great ancestor Shuiyu disappeared, and Yi Tian stayed at this Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion branch. Not long after, Shuiyu great ancestor came back. This is 10 million seafloor gold. Grand ancestor Shuiyu took a special device containing 10 million seafloor gold and gave it to Yi Tian, and Yi Tian also gave 1,000 seafloor gold to great ancestor Shuiyu. The two sides complete the transaction. Afterwards, Yi Tian left the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion with 10 million seafloor gold directly. And after Yi Tian left, a high-level immeasurable life form appeared beside Shuiyu great ancestor, including 2 third-stage high-order immeasurable beings. After all, the share of this transaction is quite large. 1,000 seafloor sky gold, and a little more seafloor sky gold is enough to force a high-level immeasurable life form at the peak of the second stage to the third stage. Therefore, this transaction is very important, and the Cantilevered Heaven Pavilion has dispatched these high-level immeasurable beings. The great ancestor Xuanming has left Gaidu Mountain. It's unbelievable that such an immeasurable body from a hopeless master can have so much heavenly gold. Would you like to do something to the great ancestor Xuanming? No, the last time the great ancestor of the ape leopard attacked the great ancestor Xuanming, and it failed. At that time, the great ancestor Xuanming was still in the realm of an intermediate level immeasurable being. Afterwards, we punished the great ancestor of the ape leopard. Xuanming the great ancestor is not simple. According to his original trajectory, 5.9 cannot grow so fast. The possibility is that he joined a mysterious hidden force in Xuanqi territory, so he was cultivated by the force. Maybe this time it is what research the mysterious force does, it's not necessarily because the great ancestor Xuanming has any problems himself. I don't recommend doing it either. The great ancestor Xuanming is a bit complicated. When he is a middle-level immeasurable being, he can rival a high-ranking immeasurable being. Moreover, he also poses a slight threat. Even if he is not our opponent, once he escapes, it's not a good thing for his Canshan Pavilion. There's no need to do it for some seafloor gold. Even if Xuanming great ancestor still has seafloor gold, the amount may not be too much. These high-level immeasurable lifeforms discussed it, and finally decided not to do anything to Yi Tian. After all, even if you do it, you may not be able to get a satisfactory answer, so there is no need to do it. Chapter 2340 News and Relics of the Blood. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Didn't do it. Yi Tian waited quietly at his residence and was not attacked. Obviously, Kanshan Pavilion still gave up attacking himself. Alright, so that we can continue to trade with Kanshan Pavilion in the future. Yi Tian muttered. After having enough Halu gold, Yi Tian began to synthesize these Halu finance into Halu Tianjin. It didn't take long for all these sea-floor gold to become sea-floor gold. So much Halu Tianjin is enough for me to condense all the boundless bones and refine them to the limit. Yi Tian affirmed. Afterwards, Yi Tian continued to practice hard, condensing countless bones. However, the cloned body of the great ancestor Xuanming is not a clone of the real body after all, so there is no need to refine the boundless bones to the limit, only condensing the boundless bones will suffice. After all, in the future, he will abandon the cloned body of the great ancestor Xuanming at any time, so there is no need to invest too many resources in the early stage, otherwise it will not be worth the loss. Before you know it, tens of millions of years of the original era have passed. 29 At this time, Yi Tian has already condensed 310 immeasurable bones, and has tempered each immeasurable bone to the limit, to the extent that he can no longer continue tempering. So many immeasurable bones have been tempered to the limit, and now they finally show extraordinary power. I don't talk about other things now, the strength of the physical body far exceeds that of the same high-level immeasurable life form. Yi Tian said confidently. With his current combat power, he can easily defeat or even crush the third-stage high-level immeasurable beings of the level of the virtual whale overlord. I may now be comparable to a high-level immeasurable life form that has condensed hundreds or even thousands of immeasurable blood. Yi Tian deduced. However, the span of the third stage is too large, and the strength of the high-level immeasurable beings that have condensed about 100,000 immeasurable blood is far more than the high-rank immortal beings that have just condensed immeasurable blood. Therefore, there is still a big gap between him and those top immeasurable blood stage high-level immeasurable beings. Originally, Yi Tian planned to continue to practice until all his boundless bones were condensed. However, this day, a piece of news spread in Hurricane Leader, shocking countless ancestors. I didn't expect to hear the news of the great ancestor of blood in Hurricane territory. Yi Tian was secretly surprised. According to the rumors, not long ago, in a treasure land not far from the Hurricane territory, Juyu Shuiyuan, the great ancestor of blood appeared there, and slaughtered a large number of living beings as well as some great ancestors. Moreover, the great ancestor of blood also opened a ruin and broke into it. Now, the news has spread. Many forces want to kill the great ancestor of blood. After all, among the ancestors who fell this time, there are as many as a dozen high-order immeasurable life forms in the third stage, and other high-order immeasurable life forms have reached the highest level, more than 100. You must know that even the Hurricane Pavilion is far from having so many high-level immeasurable beings. Although the Hurricane Collar is not too strong, it is not weak. It is conceivable how much the major forces have suffered this time. Moreover, every major force has to pay countless resources and costs for every third-stage high-level immeasurable life form, and the loss of one is a huge loss. In the third stage, the high-level immeasurable life forms are almost all the high-level leaders and even leaders of the major forces. As a result, they fell into the Juyu Shuiyuan and were killed by the ancestors of the blood. This makes the major forces naturally crazy. It seems that the ancestors of the blood have recovered from their injuries, and they can kill so many high-level immeasurable beings, even the third-stage immeasurable beings have been killed. Yi Tian was secretly surprised. Obviously, no matter how fast his strength improved, he couldn't compare to the speed of recovery of the great ancestor Oxue, and he would definitely not be able to beat the great ancestor Oxue now. It seems that the great ancestor of blood should be at the top level of the third stage during the peak period, maybe it is very close to the fourth stage. Yi Tian guessed. He didn't care what happened to the great ancestor Oxue, but was curious about the ruins that great ancestor Oxue broke into. You must know that in the Xuanqi territory, there are almost no relics, and the place that can be called a relic is definitely not an ordinary place, otherwise it will be called a relic by the high-level immeasurable beings. Go and see. Yi Tian went to Juyu Shuiyuan as the great ancestor of Xuanming to see if he could get some benefits this time. Juyu Shuiyuan, many forces have dispatched high-level immeasurable beings. These forces are huge forces that span each territory, not the Hurricane Pavilion, which is only limited to the Hurricane territory. At this time, these forces are all here for the ruins. If there is a chance, they naturally want to kill the blood ancestor. For this reason, several top third-stage high-level immeasurable beings have come here, and their goal is the great ancestor of blood. Not long after, Yi Tian also arrived here. Juyu Shuiyuan, here we come. Yi Tian entered here and sensed the spying of some great ancestors, but these great ancestors were just exploring at random and had no purpose. Yi Tian doesn't know much about Juyu Shuiyuan. He only knows that Juyu Shuiyuan occasionally breeds some treasure resources that are helpful to immeasurable blood. Several major forces have joined forces to control most of the territory, and other great ancestors are not allowed intervene. But because of the action of the great ancestor of blood, that led to the direct decline of those forces, and naturally there was no way to control the 259 nether blood abyss. Juyu Shuiyuan is also dangerous, but the general danger is not large. As long as you are careful, high-level immeasurable life forms will hardly fall here. However, the core area of the 9 nether blood abyss is very dangerous, and the high-level immeasurable life forms are easy to fall, and the ruins are in the core area of the 9 nether blood abyss, which is an area that ordinary high-level immeasurable life forms cannot step on. Yi Tian quickly stepped into the core area of Juyu Shuiyuan and passed through a layer of blood-colored mist. There are some extremely subtle creatures hidden in these blood-colored mists, but the strength of each creature is not weak, and the number is almost endless. Life-saving ability is also terrifying. If you are not careful, even the high-level immeasurable life forms at the peak of the second stage may be eaten by flesh and blood and fall here. Die. Yi Tian's body strength, the creature of color mist, blood shadow worm. These blood shadow worms could not threaten him at all, and soon he passed through this blood-colored fog area, and passed through other dangerous areas, and finally came to the entrance of the ruins. At this time, some high-level immeasurable beings have gathered here, but none of them dared to enter. This is the ruins. Yi Tian looked at an entrance in front of him and muttered.